Okay, awesome. We are live. Let's wait for some people to get in here. Go spam my Discord server, let them know what's up. Today is not one of my work days, but I did end up scheduling a last-minute call with someone who wanted to talk, and it went pretty well, thank God. Yeah, people coming out of the charismatic world into Orthodoxy is crazy stuff. Let's see. It's always weird to balance the fact that I'm recording for people who will probably watch later, but at the same time, I'm waiting for people to join, so... here we go. Welcome home, Slices. So let's see here. I'm announcing a couple places that I'm streaming because there's a decent little number of people who are interested in joining. They just have to be notified. So yeah, everything's telling me one person is watching, which has been me, but there are clearly 2 other people in the chat, so I know I'm being lied to. There we go. Now it says 3, which is me and Weston and Peter. So, okay, first off, I'm just going to play this little video to get us started here.
Da nema zla, nema oko nas, nema ovo. Jer sam se misli na moj dom. Jer zlo nije stvoreno, nego je zloupotreba razumnih bića od strane razumnih zloupotreba dobra od strane razumnih bića. I Sveti Oci kaže, šta je zlo u duhu, ako su pa njihovo mišljenje. I oni nisu fizičko telo da nešto greši, nego misleno greši. I mi isto tako misleno, a mi poslije i fizički stvarno zlo, fizičko zlo, preko misleno. Da nam da Gospod da snagi i moći da se preobraze naš narod i cijel svijet, da dođu razum istinito. No vidimo da je kratko vrijeme, pa duhovi zloga vide da je kratko i onda gleda da nijedna osoba ne bude oslobođena od njihovih paklenih misli.
Thank you, Weston, for letting me know about the mic. So, yes, beautiful. Very simple 101 Orthodoxy stuff, and yet so deep. The demons want us to have hellish thoughts. They do not want us to have joy. Everything that is evil is made out of something good. It's actually very humiliating to evil, that it's always parasitic, it's always codependent, it's never on its own. And that's why there was a elder I was reading once who said that in God there's eternal newness. He has new things to show us, new things to create, etc. And he said with sin it's the same old thing and it gets boring. And I love, just a beautiful line he said was, "'Tis a pity there's no new sins." Ain't that the truth? So let's see. So today we're working through part 3 of my journey to Orthodoxy, and of course whatever questions come in, whatever discussion arises, guess I can go back to my normal view here. Perfect. So let's see here. So recapping a little bit, I was raised somewhat charismatic Protestant, Sunday school rabble-rouser, went through Bible college and had a lot of little seeds planted for when I became Orthodox. I think that applies to a lot of people. There might be some true thing they learned about in Buddhism or Catholicism or whatever, and then problems they ran into, and then when they became Orthodox, they were like, now it all makes sense. I dealt with the problem of altruism, like the absence in myself, seemingly other people, but especially myself, the absence of agape, like truly unselfish love, and also the problem of suffering. Not that God was unjust, but just that I know He's loving, so why does He let us keep suffering? Yeah, and there was a lot of other things I talked about last time. We also talked about, for anyone that goes back and watches the old streams, or might, we spent from like an hour and 8 minutes to an hour and 34 minutes. I looked it up. We spent talking about people-pleasing and people-pleasing as a passion. And so, yeah, if you're interested in that and you weren't watching it last time, I would recommend going and watching that. And immediately after, I talked about imagination and prayer and why the fathers warn about it. So I might have to go back to that stream and like extract some clips or something, because I do feel like we covered some really important stuff, and stuff not only important, but that I get asked about a lot. So saves me some time to clip it out instead of like, I'm guessing if I keep doing these streams regularly, I'm going to get asked the same questions over and over. But surprise, surprise, I like to talk. So let's see here. So where we left off in the story was that I had finished Bible college. I'd graduated, and like over the next, probably about a year later, discovered Orthodoxy. I was considering a master's in counseling. I guess that's kind of important later in the story. Considering a master's in counseling, but I hated school. I said that before in both streams, and I barely made it through Bible college with like adequate grades. So I figured I was just going to apply maybe a year later. And I knew people would say, well, if you quit, you won't go back. I took a year off between high school and college, and I was like, I'm going to take at least a year off because I'm not built for school. Built for learning, but built for self-guided learning. And so makes a good streamer. Us people who do streams, social media, terminally online. Oh, wait, I take that one back. It's true. Yeah, being like chaotic and all over the place, reading too much Wikipedia. I mean, that's what makes like a lot of great YouTuber accounts. And so, yeah, and then I just ended up not going back. I was like, I just cannot do more school. Like the idea of just doing one more year of school where I have to sign up and be committed. And then they're like, to be do a master's in counseling is like hundreds of practice hours. And I remember just like being overwhelmed as I'm reading the requirements to get into the program, but even more so what the actual program entails. And then of course, once you have a master's in counseling, you get licensed and you have to pay for that. And you have all these legal requirements, and the direction that politics has gone, it's gotten worse. Like a lot of, gender affirming care, like some places you're legally obligated to use people's pronouns. It's just a hot mess, and I didn't know what I was going to be getting into. So I was very hesitant to do that, even though I liked working with people. So I did the job hunt online, and just right after I graduated, had some really horrible social experiences. I talked about those a little bit last time, and I'm not really... I'm happy to talk to people about it, but I'd be telling a bunch of sob stories about like old people from long ago. But yeah, my senior year, I had the first friend group I ever had in my life, where it was like a group of friends that like I regularly spent time with. We all knew and loved each other, and right after I graduated, it ended up imploding. It was horrible, really, really, anytime I tell people stories, they're like, that's very sad. I'm like, yeah, it sucked. And so it tied to everything I talked about before being really depressing and whatnot. But yeah, so then I went to, let's see, gonna close Telegram and Discord as usual so they don't keep beeping. So I worked, I did the job hunt, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't want to go back to school. Was living with some friends from Bible college, including my best friend Josh. We shared a bunk bed, and he later introduced me to Orthodoxy. But I did this door-to-door sales job that I happened upon. What's it called? There's multi-level marketing, which a lot of people call pyramid schemes. They're not a pyramid scheme. Okay, we're kind of off on tangent mode here. Multi-level marketing is where you sell a product for a business, and also you get other people in as some kind of distributors, and then they can sell that product, and they buy it from themselves too and get the little discount since they get paid a portion of the sale when they themselves buy it. But if you got someone else to be a distributor, you get like a little tiny bonus for getting other people in the business. And so multi-level marketing generally has like a bad reputation. I don't think it's horrible, but I think it's really tempting to like try and get all your family and friends into it and overly salesy. So, but it's not. Yeah, it's kind of middle of the road. It's not automatically bad, but it's kind of risky. It depends on how you do it. I was raised in an Amway family, if anybody knows what Amway is. It's another multi-level. And some people will swear by it, like, oh, it was a great time. I learned so much and grew there, and I love the products. Like, my parents still buy the products, even though they don't build a business. And other people will be like, Amway's from the devil. Amway's the worst. And sometimes they're, like, grumpy, crotchety people that, like, gave up and then blamed the business, and sometimes they knew someone who was horrible, who was like in Amway and trying to constantly prospect everyone and get them in the business and talk about the products all the time. So there's a whole complex spectrum of people in these things. But a pyramid scheme is a very specific criminal offense, and it's different. A pyramid scheme is where there's no product. It's where a person says, hey, if you give me $25,000, I'll teach you how to make more than that. And then when they give it to you, you say, okay, what I just did to you, go do to 5 other people. And then they do that, and they do that. That's a pyramid scheme. There's no product. The money just keeps moving up for no reason. And the bottom people are always losing tons, and the top people are always making it rich. And so they are illegal. Multi-level marketing is how businesses work, except for the part where you're like maximizing the social aspect. And that's why it can be a problem. Anyways, I'm off on this tangent because there's this new kind of business. I believe, I have a YouTube video saved that uses this word. Let's see if I can find it. Devil Corp. That's the phrase I'm looking for. So there's this new kind of business called Devil Corp, and I don't know what it is. It's considered like something you want to stay away from, but it's not technically illegal. Sidcore is listed. Okay, so I guess it is considered a Devil Corp. So a Devil Corp. So I'll just tell you what I was in. So I'm browsing job listings, I'm browsing Reddit, I'm browsing all these places for jobs, I'm like, whatever, like this is my first, like I was a tutor and stuff at my Bible college, ran the camera for a year for sports games, like did lots of little random stuff, but this is my first like real job after college, and I come upon this sales job, and I'm like, I don't know about sales, but I'll try it, and so I go to this office, go to a meeting. And basically the way the model works, and I'm curious, anybody who's listening, if you've been in something like this or whatever, let me know in the comments, or if you have friends that have done it. What it is it's a like sales / marketing company that other companies work through them. So what we specifically specialized in was we sold CenturyLink internet residentially, like people, not businesses, door to door. So I did door-to-door sales, and The nice thing about it was I knew, like, when you would meet someone, you would actually go through what they were currently paying and what their current speeds were, and then what the speed availability was. And if it wasn't actually a better deal, I would straight up tell them that, or I couldn't have done this. Like, I'm very much like, I can't do sales if it's not completely honest with people. And it was a better deal. Like, it was an improved offer most of the time. So I felt at peace about what I was doing. And it was really good for me. I earned the homeschooler out of me, as I often say. I used to be really awkward, like, because I was unsocialized, and that was all burned out, and all the awkwardness that's left is just like authentically me. So that's the dream. It's not to not be weird, it's to be weird because it's authentically you. That's what we got to shoot for. So yeah, so I worked at this office, but here's the thing. The office model, and it kind of makes sense, but it's also kind of weird, which is why it's associated with this Devil Corp model, or is. Again, I don't know. I'm looking at it right now and going, I should have read this before the stream. I didn't think I was going to talk about this, but we're talking about whatever. But I worked at this company, and what they do is they have this hierarchy that you climb. So when you come in, you're being trained, and then you're doing like regular door-to-door sales, and then once you get to a certain like regular income of like closing customers or whatever, you move up to what's called a corporate trainer. And a corporate trainer trains other people. And so what it's supposed to be is that everyone that has been through this program and everyone that moves up the ranks has done every position lower than them. So no one is telling you how to do your job unless they actually know what it's like to go through that. And what ideally happens is you become an assistant manager of that office, and then you eventually are trained in that long enough that you go open your own office and you start bringing in people and take a handful of people with you, and so it's like, it is kind of a multi-level, it is pyramid shaped. It is not a pyramid scheme, capital P, capital S, but it is pyramid shaped. All businesses are basically pyramid shaped, so there's a lot of nuance to it, but not enough, apparently. So anyways, I did this for a while. It was not a horrible experience. It was not a horrible experience. It was very intensive, and it's for a specific kind of person. And even they would say that, they're like, look, not everyone is gonna be like this intensive door-to-door sales person. But we worked like long days. Like it was. I can't remember the hours. I wish I did. It was like 11, 12, 13 years ago. But yeah, I think I went in at like 7, maybe 8. And then we left at 6, or maybe 7 or 8. No, it was like 9. It was 9. Yeah, because what we did was we did all these meetings in the morning, talked about sales skills, etc. You worked on whatever was your area at the time, and then you had like this group meeting, and then you went out to the field to do sales, which was I'm going to say like 1 to 8 o'clock. And that was 5 days a week. And then on Saturdays was like a half day. So you went into the office. It was the one casual day. And you worked until like a certain time that was much earlier, or until you'd made like a certain number of sales. So it was kind of like the relaxed day, the half day. And then Sunday you were off. But you'd spend Sunday evening planning the rest of your week the next week. And so it was very much like you're married to this job. And again, if it's not like they manipulated you or shamed you or something like that. Like, so and it wasn't like they were dishonest. Like when you first got there, they kind of were vague about what it was, but that was like the first day. Like you knew what it was pretty fast. So you could just not do it if you didn't want to. And they would try and like get you making sales out of the gate, like your sales, not for them. So like it's one of those things, just like multi-level marketing. It's however much you actually care about the people in your office and whatever. And there were good people there. Like I still think back to those people, and I love the people in that office. I've heard stories of people in other offices like that it was horrible. And so I think it really does vary, just like Amway, like I was already saying. Yeah, and their company has a name, their office has a name. That's everything you know. And then it's once you get higher up and you go to some big meetings that you kind of hear what the actual name of the organization that runs all this is, which for me was Sidcore. And if you go on Devil Corp Reddit, I'm looking at right now, Sidcore is listed here. So yeah, this is fascinating that I was part of this. So I need to read some of this. I'm actually going to go later and oh, I forget that I can just let's see here. Oh, that's not working. Hey, how about work? Nope. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so we're on Reddit here. The wholesome, healthy home of Reddit, Devil Corp. Direct sales corporations such as Credico, Sidcore, Appco, and Smart Circle. I have a friend, I don't think there's any chance he's watching this, but I have a friend who's been doing some sales stuff, and I'm like, that sounds like a Devil Corp. That sounds like what I did. And I tried to ask him about it, and he got a little defensive. Maybe that's happened to him before, but yeah, it's very interesting. So yeah, there's all these people telling their stories on this Reddit. I've watched one YouTube video about it, which is how I knew, this was like a year or two ago, how I knew that it was like a thing, like Devil Corps. Oh, interesting. And some of them do business to business, some do residential. It looks like this one's talking about even a charity one. Yeah, and then if you get bad reviews, well, the bad reviews aren't for Sidcore. Your bad reviews are for your office. So you can have an office plummet and crash out, and your Sidcore is fine. So yeah, this is very interesting. I'm gonna have to go in here and read it. It'd be a good exploration for another time. But yeah, I was part of this office, and they introduced me to clubbing. I'd never been clubbing or whatever, and it wasn't till I lasted about 6 months, and then I just got so worn out and overwhelmed. Yeah, Orthodox Warrior. If you want to have me on, like something, I don't currently interview people. I'm kind of new to this. I'm kind of hesitant to. I'm not an interviewer. Like I'm a good guest. Like I talk. I don't ask questions. But if you want me to be on something, if you want to invite me on, did you say you do video game streams? Yeah. Whether you want to do, like, heck, I play video games, so that's an option. But yeah, if you want to have me on your channel, I'm happy to be on anytime. Try and then whatever we record, I'll share on my Twitter, unless it's like horrible, but I don't think it will be. I'm not worried about that. Yeah, I'm former Protestant myself, so answering questions about Protestantism, whatever you want to talk about, you can like scroll my Twitter. Yeah, I don't know, you've probably seen my content around, but I talk about brainwashing, conversion, lots of different stuff. A Devil Corpse, I'm gonna have to get into this now. Yeah, Dwarf Fortress stuck in the help menu. Real. Yeah, a video game built in ASCII symbols is that's the game. Understanding just what's happening is a game. Welcome to Dwarf Fortress. I've never played it, but I've watched YouTube videos about it. Anyways, yeah, I did the door-to-door sales program with it was called DMA Solutions was our office, and everyone there was wonderful. Like I really like those people. I see them on like LinkedIn. Not that I go on LinkedIn almost ever, but I see them around on social media once in a while. And that office isn't around anymore. It seems like that's a common thing with the Devil Corps, unfortunately. But like it was like genuinely a great community. I'm so thankful for. And this was before Orthodoxy. I'm still Protestant. Still not sure what I'm doing. I think at this time I had finally found a church. 4 years of Bible college, church hopping constantly, and like finally just settled on one church that some of my friends went to. And one of the Bible college professors, Ray Lubeck, may his memory be eternal, he passed away recently. Wonderful man, and very well mustached. Where was I? I brought up Ray for a reason, but I can't remember what it was. Well, anyways, back to the sales. I went to this sales job and church hopping. That's what I was saying. And I did have a church that was like kind of established at. It was like all the people at my house that I lived at after Bible college went there. All these guys, except for my best friend Josh, because he was going to the Orthodox church. And I'm doing this door-to-door sales job, which is like intensive. I'm also really depressed from the social stuff that had been happening that I talked about like as I was graduating, and so I was drinking a lot. And you can't drink while you're on the Multnomah contract. So you breed alcoholics. A lot of students would complain about that. Like when you're not in the contract, suddenly you're like, well, I don't want to waste my time drinking, or waste my time being able to drink by not drinking. And so I started going to the liquor store like once a week and buying several bottles, and I wouldn't finish them. I was sampling stuff. Like I'm very much like a person who likes to try stuff, and so this whole new store of things to try and taste was fascinating to me. And but it wasn't healthy. It wasn't good. I was cutting during this time too. This was kind of the last season of my life where I did that, but I did it a bit like later in Bible college. I was very unhappy, depressed, and socially and gut-wise. I talked about this a lot the last stream, so I'm not going to dive back into it. But this was just kind of an extension of that situation in time. And the workaholism was like nice because I was distracting myself. And then when you go home, you just drink yourself to sleep, and then you wake up early the next morning and go to work. And so that was kind of how I lived. And then I'd go to church once a week, and eventually winter came, because I started that in like June or July after I graduated, and winter came and I was freezing. And they're kind of like, their whole thing is like to go out and get it, like achiever mentality. Anyone who knows the Enneagram, this is like all Enneagram 3s. They're all like achievers and go-getters and whatever, and and you're getting cold, and they're like, put hot packets in your gloves and all this stuff, and like, I mean, it works. Like, you could do it. If you're this kind of person that like enjoys, the grind, that like it's a good grind. Like it was all commission based, by the way, but like it was a good commission. So it wasn't the great commission, but it was pretty good. I had no problems with people were like, you go by commission, and I was like, I'm fine. Like I'm making reasonable money. Like, and I'm selling people internet that's actually saving them money, and it's faster. Like I'm fine with this. So I'm gonna move my mic away a little bit. It looks, my signal's saying it's pretty loud. I don't know if anybody in the chat can confirm this. So anyways, as winter, I can't remember around what time it was. I think it was like January, but I finally was like, I can't do this anymore. All this time, constantly, whatever, and eventually I like sat down and told them I was quitting. And I think my health issues were causing me a problem. I used to have chronic bronchitis, where I'd get bronchitis 2 to 3 times a year, and when I get sick because of my immune issues, I get sick for like 2 weeks. And I used to think I was crazy, and other people would be like, what the heck's wrong with you? Why are you out of work for a week when you're sick? It's part of why my current job is such a massive blessing, my coaching, because I can, if I need to take time off, I get to decide. Obviously, it's like financially stressful, but at least it doesn't mean I'm going to lose my job. And most people are fine with skipping a week or whatever. So, it's a blessing from the Lord. Like, my job fits my situation pretty well, but I don't get sick as much, thank God. Ever since I smoked weed. But I don't want to promote smoking weed as a solution for chronic bronchitis, but it was literally like, seems to be what cured it. And when I get sick, I still get sick for like a week or two, but now it's when everybody else is getting sick, and now it's not usually bronchial, not usually lung and cough related. Anyways, so I quit this job and was unemployed for a little while, and then I had 2 friends. I'm gonna drop names just in case there's someone who knows them, because that would be super cool. There was one, so rewinding a little bit, I'm not being super linear here with the story, but I'm staying in like the overall Overton window throughout the year. But my senior year of Bible college, there was one friend, Aaron Rice, who is now up in Seattle. He's somewhere in the Seattle area. He's Father Spiridon. So if you meet Father Spiridon Rice, mention that you heard him name dropped on a Thaddeus stream, Thaddeus Patrick, because he was the first person I ever heard talk about Orthodoxy, and he's a priest now, which is so cool. One of my Bible college friends, I was sitting at a lunch table like senior year after church. The normal thing was everybody went to church, and then you came back after church and went to the cafeteria for lunch, and so it was like the church crowd, and all students on campus. Any commuters weren't there because it's a Sunday. And I remember sitting around like what you'd usually do, small talk, and something's wrong with me. I'm neurodivergent, or that's the scientific term for retarded. But I'm like, what's the small talk question that I'm supposed to ask? And it's what church did you go to today? So you sit down and you're just like, church you went, church you go, which church? Name church now. I command it. Reduce awkwardness. And so everyone would talk about what church they went to, and I'd be like, I go to Ray Lubeck's church, Dr. Lubeck's church, Endeavor. My friends go there. This is before they were my roommates. And so we go around, and it gets to Aaron, now Father Spiridon, and he's like, you could tell, like, he's like, I don't want to tell these people what I'm doing. Like, these are a bunch of non-denom evangelicals. And he's like, I go to an Orthodox church. And I was like, what is that? And he's like, it's like a old, I forget what he said exactly, old church. And I said the line, like, if you're Orthodox, you know the line. Is that like Catholic? And he's like, like, kind of not at all. And I thought it was really interesting at the time, and I remember asking him, this is what I remember, like, I barely remember anything, but I remember asking him, what, do they think they're like the real church? Like, I don't even know how I had that concept, but that was like the thing I asked, was like, do they think they're like the real church, like everybody else isn't? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, huh, interesting. And so, didn't think of it again, except that later I found out that one of my dorm roommates, my best friend Josh Cole, he's in I think he's in Sacramento, still, Sacramento, California, but he told me that he was looking into Orthodoxy, and I was like, oh, I heard Aaron Rice talk about that one time, Father Spiridon, and he's like, yeah, it's interesting, I'm just looking into it. And then he has like a little red Antiochian prayer book, like they're really recognizable if you're Orthodox. They're these little red or black books that the Antiochians put out, and so that's been my prayer book to this day, since I started exploring 12 years ago. But I remember seeing him with it, and he's like, yeah, when I'm depressed, I just read this. And I was like, does it help? And he's like, sometimes, like, it's not really about if it helps you. And I was like, huh. And I remember thinking, like, dude, pre-written prayers, I hate those. God laughs. Man makes plans and God laughs. Because now that's my whole life, and my salvation is in these canned prayers. Glory to God for them. But those friends I was still connecting with here and there, and Josh Cole became my roommate. So he's exploring Orthodoxy, and we share a bunk bed. So he put up an icon corner, and I'm like, oh, pictures of Jesus and people. And he'd pray sometimes, or and so I'm like, can I be here while you're doing this? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like playing video games while he's doing his prayer rule. Now I play video games when I should be doing my prayer rule. But yeah, he's playing video games, or I'm playing video games and stuff, and every once in a while, he has a friend over, and it's someone who's also exploring Orthodoxy, like Aaron Rice, or our friend Nick Fine, or a bunch of other guys. And Nick Fine is now Father Nicholas, another Multnomah alumni who's a priest. So if you meet Father Nicholas Fine, tell him that you know Thaddeus or Shay. He probably remembers me better as Shay. But yeah, if you mention I'm from Multnomah, he'll know exactly who I am. Anyways, I'm interacting with these guys here and there, and at one point, and I'm unemployed for a little while too, and at one point, Aaron and I think it was Nick, two of the guys invited me to Yahala, which was the local Lebanese restaurant, at one of the local Lebanese restaurants, owned, funny enough, by people from the church that I later started attending, from their church. And I went to this restaurant with them, and they were like, hey, by the way, we're going on see, this was the trap. This is worse than the Devil Corp. This is worse than a multi-level and a pyramid scheme. They had trapped me. They're like, but like, we're finished eating, and they're like talking to me and whatever, and they're like, by the way, we're going on a road trip to this monastery called St. Herman of Alaska Monastery. This guy named Father Seraphim Rose founded it, and he's very famous in our church. And so we're road tripping down there. Also, we have an extra seat. Also, we know you're unemployed, so you don't have an excuse not to go. Also, we won't charge you gas money, so you literally have no excuse. And I was like, I mean, they did say it like that, but it was kind of like that. I took it that way, and I was like, sure. I told Josh, my best friend, that I'd look into Orthodoxy, and that sounds like a wild adventure. And yeah, I'm not employed, so what else am I doing? So, I went to one reader's service with them before this adventure, and it was like a reader's vespers, so it was like 20 minutes, and I showed up. I didn't even know anything about Orthodoxy, so I showed up, and they're like, they have a book, and they're reading things, and I was like, oh no, it's canned prayers. And I stood in the back of the room. This isn't even an Orthodox service. This is just at their house in front of their icons with like 20 people. It was a birthday party too. And they're reading like this 20-minute Vespers service thing, and I'm standing in the back like, oh my gosh. Yeah, Jeremy in the chat representing Multnomah. One of our Bible colleges, one of the parishes in Portland, Annunciation, calls Multnomah University the Orthodox nursery, because so many students trickle over to Orthodoxy. So yeah, Jared, I knew him, and then when I left, he was exploring Orthodoxy, and then here he brought my brother Jeremy to the church. Yeah, the MU to Ortho pipeline is real. Glory to God for that. And my godfather, my sponsor, is actually a professor in the Multnomah Seminary. When he converted from Anglicanism to Orthodoxy, they had this like whole council of professors get together and vet him to see if he should still be allowed to work there, which is understandable because he doesn't hold their theology anymore. And afterwards, they decided he could stay, which I don't think they would have let a Catholic stay. So it was very interesting. But he taught patristics, and many of his students, I was not one of his students, I never went through seminary, but many of his students became Orthodox. And he wasn't trying to proselytize, he just was like, it's obvious, like, even the students would agree, like, you go through this class, you learn the church fathers, and you're like, why are we all not Orthodox? Like, this doesn't make sense. And he said if they knew how many of my students became Orthodox after Bible college, he said they would have fired me. But he was like, I was not proselytizing. I just was teaching the fathers honestly, and it's just obvious once you realize what they are. And so, yeah, it was a pretty wild experience. But, yeah, so I go to this birthday party / Reader's Vespers. I hate it so much, I prayed it would end. Again, God laughs. And I remember afterwards going out into the garage, and in the garage they were smoking cigars, based, very cool, smoking cigars and pipes, and the girl whose birthday it was, her dad was there, and he's Reformed. She's becoming Orthodox. Her dad is still like hardcore Reformed, and my godfather is Robertson, yes. I can't believe I can't remember his name. My own sponsor. I mean, I haven't talked to them in like years because they're busy and they have a lot of godchildren, because they all the Multnomah students or whatever. But yeah. Anyways, so I go and I sit down and I'm listening to this debate because, again, I'm not educated on this. This is not something I know anything about, like Orthodoxy. All I know is that I don't like the canned prayers, but I'm very curious about this Orthodox thing because my friends are getting into it, and I'm the kind of person who, if you tell me not to research something, I go research it. Like, that's just what I'm gonna do. If you tell me that anyone who questions the Holocaust numbers is bad, and they're Holocaust denier, even if I'm like, I heard them just say it was like 1 million, but you're saying they're denying it? They said that it was 1 million, that's not denial. That's still saying it happened. Minimizer, call him a minimizer. Like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't have dogs and races except for truth. Like, I care about truth. So if you tell me that they're these bad people, I'm going to be like, oh, how does their badness work? Well, let me listen to them. And then I might be like, oh, I kind of get where they're coming from. Like, and they're not deniers, like you said. Like, they actually believe it did happen. They think it was exaggerated. Like, whoever's right, I don't care. But, like, anytime you misrepresent someone that you're saying is bad, I don't trust you anymore. Like, you should, if your truth is such an obvious and important truth, you should just be able to tell the truth. So, yeah, and that goes to both sides of any issue. Like, you should be able to represent something properly. And I say the same thing when it comes to, like, I'm going to tangent here because on my streams, I like to, I'm like, this is my opportunity to tangent. If I'm in a coaching session, I try not to tangent. If I'm talking to a friend, I try not to tangent. But my stream is where we're just all over the place having fun. And sometimes it inspires questions too. Sometimes you're like, oh, I didn't know Thaddeus talks about that. So you're welcome to talk about these things. The filioque. The filioque. So this is maybe this will be clipped out and be like a little Thaddeus video or something. So I'm no expert on the filioque, but I know my basics. Including some nuance that some people leave out. So, and a lot of people probably know about the filioque already, but a lot of people don't know this nuance that I want to add here, because it hurts our credibility when we don't know about this nuance. And I've seen Catholics, like, do an effective one-up, and understandably, I would in their position too. There's nothing wrong with them doing this. Sometimes we leave out parts of the truth when talking about this issue, and so we should not do that. That's not okay. We should be telling the truth, even if it doesn't make our presentation clearer. In fact, adding nuance to any truth seeker makes you more credible. And so I'm playing 5D chess here, being extra manipulative by adding nuance. Anyways, so the filioque is not in the original Nicene Creed. It's added well-intentionedly by people in Spain who are fighting Arianism. The Arians are saying that Jesus isn't God, so they say "and the Son" to emphasize that he is God. That's well-intentioned. Like, maybe they shouldn't have done it, but they might not have known better. They were just trying to do something to fight Arianism. God bless them. Like, we should start with that. That was, like, understandable. And then it starts to spread from there, and then you get, it's so common that there are popes that say that it was taken out by the East. Okay, that's a lie. Like, we did not take it out. And it, like, creates a lot of conflict because they're actually lying and say, I don't know the history of which popes it was or whatever, but they're lying and saying we took it out. And part of the declaration was that no one messes with the creed unless the whole church agrees on it. The whole church wrote the first half of the creed at the first council and the second half at the second council about the Holy Spirit. And they would say, we're not touching this. It's so important, so key. It's like sacred scripture unless we all get together. And so it was a big deal just to add, regardless of the theology of it, it was a big deal to add or remove anything from the creed. And then the West started accusing the East of taking it out. And West and East, like, they're just regions. They're just, like, historical groupings. The West is sometimes good and bad. The East can have bad people, too. Nestorius was the Patriarch of Constantinople. So, pre-schism, there's no West is good, West is bad. Like, none of that. I don't want that to be conveyed at all. But at the time, certain popes were bad. There was a pope that got deposed by an ecumenical council because the church was synodical, not papal. So the filioque was accused of being removed by the West, and then you had Pope St. Gregory the Great. Pope St. Gregory the Great was like, I don't know what the last popes were saying, but this is false. The East, this is the real creed. And Pope St. Gregory the Great put the creed on silver tablets without the filioque and displayed them, like, publicly to declare this is the real creed and this is, the East has been doing it right. You know, this wonderful godly pope. And he's a saint in both our traditions. The part people in the Orthodox side leave out is that he still gave parishes and bishops a blessing to use the filioque. And people will leave that out because that looks weird. It's like, why can't we use the filioque today? Which is a fair question. It's just that just let people ask the question and then learn to answer it. And if you can't answer it, you need to go do research. But don't leave this part out, because the trad cats, the Catholic bros, whatever, they're going to come along and they're going to point this out to inquirers, and you're going to make us look like a fool. Rightly so. Again, like there's nothing. This is on us. Like when we leave details out. And so he allowed people to use the filioque. So fast forward a few centuries until you get Saint Maximus the Confessor. Someone can correct me in the chat. No, they can't, because I'm going to look it up. Saint Maximus the Confessor. Oh, he's way earlier than I thought. He lived 580 to 662. I thought he was like 800s. Man, it's hard to keep track of all these wonderful guys. Too great a cloud of witnesses. My goodness. No, may their numbers ever increase as the church births more saints into heaven. So this is maybe probably around the same time, actually. Anyways, not super important. Saint Maximus the Confessor says, there's this famous quote, and you can find it if you really need it, like for apologetics or something. Let me know. I keep it saved in a folder. It's like one of those. I don't have a lot of apologetics folders, but this is one of them, so that I can talk about this. Sometimes I get coaching clients who ask me about this. Some people come to me and they're like, they're meeting with me partially because they're inquiring about Orthodoxy and Catholicism and my take on it. And then usually they're getting some coaching along with that. Like, okay, invasive thoughts, what do you Orthodox teach to do? I want to try it. So it's a little bit of both. But so Saint Maximus the Confessor says, yes, some people are given a blessing, and like an economia, I don't think he used that word, but like a blessing to use the filioque. However, this is only permissible because we all know that the filioque is not professing that the Spirit is caused by the Son, that he is generated from the Son. We know that this is being understood universally, even when it's used. Yeah, Jeremy, I'm nuance maxing and charity gains here. He said, only because we know that this is about, we universally know that this is about the Spirit proceeding from the Son, as the scriptures say. Being sent by the Son. When they say proceeds from the Father and the Son, they're referring also to sent by the Son. But it was discouraged to use the filioque, and it was only a pastoral exception for people that like understood rightly but were used to this creed now because it'd been around a while. But it was considered the exception, and it was only under the condition that they knew it was not saying that the Spirit was caused by the Son. It was understood by the Fathers that that was completely problematic theology. So then you go, fast forward all the way to the 1400s, when St. Mark of Ephesus goes to and the other patriarchs go to the Council of Florence and debate with the Catholics. The Constantinople says, help us, the Muslims are attacking, and Rome says, we won't help you unless you submit to Rome. You have to accept all our developments. I have developed the doctrine. Pray I don't develop it again, to quote Darth Vader roughly. Like all their developments, all the things that we were like, no, these are bad things. Purgatory, Crusades, Ultramontanism, which is that the Pope's power goes beyond the mountains, all these things, and the filioque. And at that council, the Catholics explicitly declared, I don't know if they consider this binding, I don't really care, it's still a big deal that they said this, but I think it might be a binding council for them. But they declared that the filioque explicitly is about, and you can go look this up from the teaching citations of the minutes and the teachings of the council. The filioque is about the Spirit being generated by the Son, caused by the Son. And so that creates a lopsided Trinity. Whereas you have the Father at the top and then the Son and the Holy Spirit, you do this. And now the Son and the Father have this private relationship. So how Trinitarian theology works, part of the dogmatic side of it, is that every member, it's either a personal trait or it's shared universally between all three. But none of them have a little private two thing going on that the other one is excluded from. There's no excluding going on in the Trinity. And so you create a lopsided Trinity with that. And so it's really key that we accept that it's like, yeah, the filioque was allowed in the early church, and have that nuance, but it still points back to orthodoxy. And if we give the nuance, it just drives our case. It covers all our bases and makes us not susceptible. Like, to show, it makes it stronger. It's like a big hole that you just filled in, and now it's all stronger. Our case. And so, yeah. Anyways, that's very important for any time you're having a discussion about the filioque. And it also, like, there's some Catholics who are like, is the filioque that horrible? I've said, this is my honest opinion. I've heard some other, like, Orthodox priests and teachers say this. The filioque is not that big a deal. It is a big deal. It is a problem. It needs talked about. It's better that we, when I say it's not a big deal, I don't mean like we should use the filioque. We should not. Like, I will never say the filioque. Lord have mercy. Like, hopefully, like, if I get St. Peter the Aleuted and some, like, Spaniard Catholics are, like, chopping my toes off, like, I pray I still won't say it. But real. Literally real. The Catholics tried to deny that, and for no reason. They didn't have any reason to deny it. They just didn't like it, and then some people dug up some evidence on Twitter. Philip Mystagon, welcome, brothers. Anyways, so let's see. I gotta figure out where the heck I was in my story before I went on my major nuance tangent. I was talking about my godfather and... Oh! Yeah, I was just talking about how, like, when people tell me not to investigate something, I go investigate it specifically. And so orthodoxy is like one of these things. Like, I really want to know what the heck this thing's about. Even though I don't like it, I'm not interested in it, I am interested in learning about what the heck it is. Is there a vague chance it could be actually something really important? A distant thought in my mind. But, so I'm in this garage, and one of my friends from Bible college is becoming Orthodox, and then my friend who's becoming Orthodox, her dad is the Reform guy over on the other side, and they're having this heady debate about works and theology and imputed righteousness, and I barely remember the words they said, let alone the actual arguments, even though they're arguments I probably have now. It was so long ago I didn't understand what was being said. But I remember listening and being like, I think the Orthodox guy is winning this debate. Like, listening, his arguments are better. Not that he's a better debater. He's like everything this Reform guy says, he has a response to that's logical and sound and makes sense. And eventually the debate, it wasn't hostile. It kind of fizzled out. It was, kind of like two big bearded guys, the two classics, Orthodox and Reform people, having their pints and cigar debate. So that really is our kinship. Like, when Reformed and Orthodox come together, it should be over a good Lutheran pint and a good cigar pipe, a good C.S. Lewis pipe. Anyways, after the debate ended, I was talking to the Catholic guy, there's no Catholic guy, the real Catholic guy, the Orthodox guy. I was talking to him about, kind of the Orthodox views and stuff. And I remember, this is what I remember explicitly out of all of this, outside of thinking the Orthodox guy seemed like he was kind of winning. But I remember asking him about, like, authority and where the source of truth is, and are you guys, like, tradition people and stuff? And he said, well, you know how even if you're Protestant like us, like from our Bible college or whatever, you believe that Christ came and he didn't write a book. He elected the apostles, and the apostles were in charge, and they ran everything, and they elected Matthias to take their place, and Paul comes along and they give instructions on electing overseers and Timothy. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, and then basically, like, we believe that they wrote some letters and writings that were pastoral care for certain places. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, and then people decided that those writings were a book, and that book gets compiled of all these letters. They weren't originally intended to be a book, and now that's our authority. And he goes, the Orthodox just believe that the apostles and their students never stopped being authority. Like, the same people that picked the Bible stayed in that authority position. Nothing in the Bible says they'd stop being that. Nothing said in history suggests that. No one believed that. And no one believed anything but the church is the pillar and ground of truth, as the scriptures say, until Martin Luther and Calvin. And even then, they still had a definition of church that verse worked, and it's not until like some time goes by that it gets further and further from that being something you could actually say and believe, even though it's a quote from the scripture. And so I remember him saying that like the church just stayed the authority, and I was like, well, obviously I disagree with that, but I also don't have a rebuttal for you right now, so I'll have to look into that. And so it was after this that I ended up going to St. Herman of Alaska Monastery, and we road trip down from Portland, Oregon, down to Redding, California, and then over just a little bit to Platina, to where Father Seraphim Rose is. And I don't remember the trip down there. I think we chit-chatted and listened to some chanting and whatever, and I'm just like, oh, chanting, huh? Like, this is not my thing. I love music, but I don't really... The Orthodox... Like, nothing about Orthodoxy did anything. Like, whenever people say the aesthetics, like, oh, people are converting to Orthodoxy for the aesthetics, one, generally a lie, generally not true, and they're just, like, making stuff up because they are defensive. Like, no offense, I don't want to be too judgmental here, but, like, I get a little tired of seeing it, and I'm like, you are, like, big Protestant YouTubers and podcasters, like, who claim to value truth, and, like, you're just straight up making stuff up. Like, it's very sad and heartbreaking. Like, just face our actual arguments if you're so confident in your position. You don't have to play these games. I already talked about that earlier. So, anyways, I'm the case study of, like, the exact opposite. I did not like the music. I did not like the vestments. I did not like the prayer. I didn't like the icons. It wasn't because I was against them. Maybe I was a little, like, but it was almost all because I did not like them. I was like, this is so boring. Why would anyone stand in this church? And so, but I decided I was curious about this monastery thing. So we road trip down, and, you know, the 20-minute thing I had been in, I'd prayed it would end. I hated it so much. And we get to the monastery, and one of the monks comes out to greet us, and he's like, oh, you guys are here just in time for our 4-hour prayer vigil. And I remember just, like, dying, being like, oh no. And so we go into the 4-hour prayer vigil, and I'm like standing, sitting, feeling guilty but I'm going to sit anyways because I can't stand standing anymore. And we were there for 5 days. So God was just like, just humiliating me back into humbled hummus, like mangling the hard-soiled heart's dirt. Wow, this amalgamating sentences here. But, yeah, it was like I really had to face myself because it was grueling. I did not know what I signed up for. 5 days of standing and sitting and chanting and slow stuff, and oh my gosh, and they're going to make us work. Like, I guess I'll work. Maybe that was better. I got to dig graves. That was actually pretty cool. I'd never done anything like that. American culture tries to hide death from you, keep you away from it, you know, keep the coffin closed, use embalming stuff so they look like they're alive. And Orthodoxy's just like, Christ conquered death. We're not afraid of that. Let the kids see the open coffin. Like, calm down. And so, yeah, I was like, whoa, digging a grave. This is actually kind of cool. And while I was there, I was extremely judgmental towards the icons. I wasn't sure that they were idolatry. I thought they were boring and ugly. And I was doing the line of like, why would you kiss pictures of dead people? And so I was very, very interested in like why they would even do that. And I thought maybe there was something to it, but it was more like annoyed, like not even quite judgmental, even though they're kind of the same, but I was just really annoyed, like, why are they doing this? Like, this is so weird. And I remember having this moment. In fact, I'm going to grab it. I had this moment that I think was the Lord, where I had the memory of this one photograph that I have. This photograph is of my cat. Let's see if we can get the reflection right here. My cat, Godzilla. This was my cat that I had for 15 years growing up. And he Godzilla was there through depression, loneliness, like a lot. Like that cat. I mean, he had brothers and sisters, and they slowly passed away, but he lasted 15 years. And Godzilla helped convert me to Orthodoxy and make me comfortable with icons, because I would see this photo long before I were Orthodoxy, and I would kiss it because I missed him so much. It was just so natural to me. And I remember judging those icons, these icons, judging them, and then suddenly remembering that I kiss the photo of my cat Godzilla. I'm not worshiping him, like it's nothing like that. It's an expression of my love for this cat that God brought mercy to me through. Yeah, I'm gonna cry. Thank God for Godzilla. I look forward to seeing him again one day, in heaven, and he helped me again, like in 15 years, and then he came back for like his last hoorah and helped me become Orthodox. So I remembered kissing that, and then the conviction came over me: if your cat is worth kissing a photo, how much more worth it is God's holiest friends? Like, and it just hit me that makes total sense. I was just like, oh my gosh, yeah. And by the time I was done there, 5 days, the last day, I was like, God, I don't know if this is right or wrong. Who am I? I don't know nothing. I don't know anything. This could be horrible. It could be blessed and exactly what you want people to do. I don't know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and I'm going to follow the line of people that goes through at the end of the service and kisses all the icons, and I'm going to do what they do. I'm going to do the cross bow, kiss it, kiss your face, and cross bow. And I said, if it's wrong, Lord, please convict me. Please convict me that it's wrong, and show it to me like it's doing something bad to my heart. And if it's okay, give me a peace. And it started with this, like halfway through, and then came later, I kissed these icons, and at the end, I almost laughed. Not like weird Pentecostal stuff, don't get me wrong, but I almost laughed, because I was like, all of the fear and the thought that it was weird and dangerous was in my head. Like, once I actually kissed the icons, I was like, this is literally like kissing my picture of Godzilla. Like of course, if I love Jesus, I see a picture of him, I would kiss it. I'd just never done that before, so it was weird. Literally, all the stuff in my head, it wasn't anything like demonic or godly or whatever. It was like my fear was just the fact that it was unfamiliar, and that made it feel weird to me. And I think we have to realize that with people. Like when we're talking to people who are Protestant, they may not realize it, but a lot of the stuff they don't like about Orthodoxy is literally just because they didn't grow up with it. Like, it's kind of that simple. And it was certainly, that was part of it for me. The other reason I didn't like Orthodox stuff was because I was so addicted to the, like, worship music stimulus and the moving and whatever. And so standing and chanting very slowly and, that was fasting, and that was stillness. Like, that was push everything aside, everything you enjoy, all your pleasure. It's good for you, it's medicine, but at the time I was like, I don't like this. Like, why would I do this if I don't like it? And you don't realize till later, like, oh, that's really selfish and shouldn't be related to worshiping God. Do I like it? That's like the opposite of worshiping God. That's worshiping me. Do I like it? Anyways, but like a lot of it was just unfamiliarity. That was why I didn't like it either. And so, after I kissed these icons, I was just like, I could kiss the pictures of Jesus. Like, what is this? And I'll probably kiss the other ones too, because they're his friends. But like obviously, I'd kiss the picture of Jesus if I'd kiss old Godzilla kitty cat here. So, it was a very interesting experience. And then, trying to think if anything else important happened while I was there. I don't think so, or at least not that I remember. But at the end of the trip, they gave me, and I have it right here, this copy of Our Thoughts Determine Our Lives by Elder Thaddeus of Vitovnica. Thursdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. On Thaddeus' stream, we're reading this. I got to put the plug in there while I have it out. But this book, and then one of my friends borrowed it and spilt water on it, so it's like warped. It just has personality. Got lots of tabs in it, got lots of underlines. They're also thinner now. This one is thicker. The old copies used to be thicker, and now they're thin. They're the same amount of content. I don't know what happened. They must have just used like a thinner paper or something. But anyways, irrelevant. But welcome to Thaddeus's streams. So I started reading that book. They gave it to me, not knowing that like it says our thoughts determine our lives, but giving me this book determined my life right then and there, and I didn't know it. But they gave me that book, and I started reading it on the way home to I've covered a bunch of my notes, and I wasn't even reading them, and I'm like, yeah, that's the story. It makes sense. It's almost like it's my real life, and it's chronological. Anyways, let me read the chat here real quick. Glory to God indeed. Yes, Philip, the cat is a sweetheart. VC8503GNO. Yes, sweet buddy indeed. Yeah, God sends people to comfort us, sometimes saints and angels, sometimes people, sometimes his fluffy little friends. Yeah, 92323 talks about hugging the photo of the cat. Yeah, like it's just when we're talking about iconography, I'm gonna go off on this a little bit. One of these days, I have a video on my channel. It's only 20 minutes. That was from a space I did, similar to this. Like I just clipped out like a section that I had talked about icons, and I think it's if you're interested in icons and how to explain them to people, I would highly recommend it. It's a not watch video on my stream or on my YouTube channel. Like it's a very low view count. I don't know why. I always wonder like how do some of my videos explode and some don't. And some of them I'm like, oh, it's the length. That's why it doesn't explode. But this one is 20 minutes. So anyways, yeah, if you are curious, go watch it. And also if there's like problems or things you like about it, either tell me what the problems are or share it or whatever. But I want to redo it at some point. I really want to do a video in my usual theme of iconography as Orthodox therapy. And I want to explain the purpose of iconography from a therapeutic perspective. Not like if you deny icons, you deny the incarnation. That's great. I'd probably talk about that too. But that's just a small part of it. But the crux of it is that if you understand how human beings work and you have theology that God saves the whole human being, icons just are obvious. Like icons should be as obvious to us as as words are to us. Like if someone, like there's obviously bad and evil words like curses and witchcraft books and swearing and sexually graphic talk, and like there's lots of bad words, but we wouldn't deny that words are part of worship, prayer, connecting to others, God, he has a name, etc. Well, icons are the same. Icons are just, words are another form of image and symbol that connects us. Like when I say the word Jesus, the devil can say that name. Like he, as far as I understand it, like they can claim to be Christ. And yeah, Weston, words are just icons. Literally, they are a visual that draws your mind to something, but is not that something. That's an icon. That's an icon. Like, and when I always tell people, when a mother loses her child, God forbid, a mother loses her child, the child's favorite stuffed animal, she clings to that like it's the child. Is she mistaking the stuffed animal for the child? No. You connect to people through everything. You associate. I hear a song that reminds me of my ex from years ago. I start crying. Like that's how it works. You're an associative machine. You're in Trinitarian bonds and relationships. You work the land. We recognize like, oh, you bonded with that land. You spent this time with it. Now you have this bond. Even if you, like, it doesn't have to be private property. Like we should respect, like, oh, this guy worked on this. It's his. Like let him have it. Like all these bonds are happening, and we bond through mediums. We come to the Father through Christ. We come to Christ through the Theotokos. We come to God through other people. Paul says, that I might save some. We go, oh, only Christ saves. The Theotokos can't save us. And Father Paul, I just watched him point out, like, Paul says he's saving people. Paul says he's saving people. Anyways, I would have Paul says he's saving people. Shut up. Anyways, yeah, but I mean, I didn't even think of that. So, yeah, it's just like we're not actually understanding other like real human beings. Like this is according to nature and God's design, that I connect to what I love through symbols and two things that draw my mind to it. This is not my cat Godzilla. This is a collection of colors, but it really does stir the connection in my heart to my cat Godzilla. All of these are my friends. Like, these are my friends. These are my homies. Since I don't have any real friends, I just have friends on the internet, like the net. These are my friends. Like, these are who I talk to. And when I talked about this last stream a little bit, but like, it's not the art, it's not the wood and paint, but it helps me think of the friend. Like, this is part of the problem with Catholic art, and I talked about this last stream a week ago, I think. It was either last Tuesday or Thursday, but anyways, I have streams about this, or videos about this too, that you can read. But the Catholics started making their art really graphic, and the problem is that you react to the art. If it's Jesus, like, oh, and blood and everything, like, you're reacting to the art. Like, if you see blood in a picture, it activates your psychology. And so, I just got a super cat, super chat from my home slice Jeremy. Thank you, man. Clan Thaddeus or death. That's what he likes to shout at me at random and fun times. So, in that exact manner. So, yes, thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate that. Always encouraging over here. Dude bought the Crabs game so he could play Crab Champions with me. Also, if you want anyone watching the stream, side plug for a great video game. Very popular. A lot of people know about it, but great, like, fast-paced looter-shooter co-op where you're a crab with a gun and you fight other crabs and slugs and snails. Crab Champions. I think it's like $10. You can play co-op. Play with me sometime. I'd love to play with you. I've been playing with a group of guys, and you can play. I'm not sure what the player cap is. Okay, I have the power of the internet once again. Crab Champions max players. That's a lie. That's a lie from the devil. Up to 4 players in co-op? No. Okay, it says experimental support for up to 6 players. So we did 6 players last night. Anyways, Crab Champions is great if you just want a simple, like, fun, fast-paced co-op game. It's just a blast. It's really one of the best ones, and it's really not expensive. But anyways, all that to say, Jeremy was playing that with me last night. We had a blast, and yeah, so that he's a real one. Let's see, catch up on the chat here. Ketchup on the chat, mustard on the chat, relish on the chat. Weston loves the side rants. Yes, I live for the side rants. So, Orthodox Warrior likes my icon wall. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Yeah, I definitely have a problem. A lot of these icons are like little photo prints, like Augustine here, or Saint Vitellius of Gaza, or Vincent of Lorraine, who wrote the Vincentian canon, that a Christian should believe what was believed always, everywhere, and by all. That's what we have instead of the papacy or sola scriptura. We have the Vincentian canon, always, everywhere, and by all. Every council appeals to this. Maybe not like those words, but he's summing it up. Like they go, what do the scriptures teach? What has everyone taught before us? What does every father teach? Whatever that is, that's what we're going to declare at the council. And so Arius wasn't teaching that. He was teaching something new, and they proved that. And that's how it got declared. So when I go back in history, I look at scripture, because that's part of everywhere, always, and by all. I look to the Pope. I look to the other bishops, too. And I especially look to the saints. I look to all of them. I look to the babushkas and the little kids and the monks in the desert. I look to everyone. The church. Meaning everyone, not the magisterium, the people at the top, like the Catholics teach, not just a book that was written by the church, how'd they write it, if they're not the authority. I look to the church, which includes the Holy Scriptures, which are a key part of that. The whole thing is our pillar and ground of truth. So that's what, like, if I'm talking to Protestants, I spend a lot of time. There's a bunch of Bible verses to back that up, too. I could get into that, but that's the simple version. Like, anyways, that's why I have St. Vincent of Lorraine right here. Trying to line it up just right. Because that was very key for me. I remember asking people, if we don't believe in the papacy and we don't do sola scriptura, like scripture alone, what do we do? And they're like, the ecumenical councils. And it's like, you just created the same problem as sola scriptura. How do we get the ecumenical councils? Those came later. Like, those came even after the scriptures. So that you're making the problem worse. How do we decide there's a bunch of councils. How do we know which ones are ecumenical? Well, how do we know? Because the church declared it. Because the church universal, the church Catholic, accepted it. Like, the people as a whole are together in communion, one faith, one body, one Eucharist, one baptism, one Spirit. They're one whole thing that together is the body of Christ. Where two or more are gathered, well, this is all of them. That's our authority. That's God present on earth in a communion of persons that looks like the Trinity. Anyways, if you want to hear more about that, go watch my video on the Trinity. But yeah, like that's our standard. And so let's see here. Yeah, Vincentian canon, that's what I was talking about. He made that clear for me, what is actually the standards, not the councils. The councils are part of that, just like the scriptures are, but the highest thing is always, everywhere, and by all. Obviously hyperbole, but still a great standard. Like, if you want to know something, sometimes I can get Protestants to accept that too. I'll be like, look, if it's from God and you don't believe in a great apostasy like the Mormons, it should be in every century. And they're like, that's fair. And now they're entrapped. Once again, I've 5D chess trapped you. Like, you are... like, now I can start telling you what's taught. Well, the first century they taught apostolic succession. Do you have apostolic succession? Apostolic what? I thought they believed the Bible. And it's like, where'd you get the Bible except from people who had apostolic succession? It was so well known that, like, even the Gnostics were claiming they had apostolic succession. Not the scriptures. Oh, well, they did that too. But they claimed they had apostolic succession because everyone knew you had to have it. So, anyways... all this to say, I love St. Vincent. That's why he's on my wall, because he's, like, for me, like an anchor. But yeah, some of these icons I got for really cheap on eBay. I always tell people don't buy icons on eBay, buy them from legit stores, but you can also be lazy like me and buy them on eBay. And a lot of these were like $3 on eBay. So I'm not rich. It looks like I'm rich, but a lot of photo icons there, and GIFs, and yeah. I showed it last time, so I'm not going to show it again. But my mom got me this one for Christmas, the Synaxis of the Holy Forefathers. So it's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who I really love. They were there for me through some hard stuff. And Job's on there, and I have Job here too. And as I talk about Job like every stream now, the life of Job. I've showed this before, but just in case people want to see it. The top is my favorite. The devil and God is the Ancient of Days having a conversation. Like, that's just wild. I've never seen an icon like that. And the rest of it's his life. But yeah, let's see here. Back to the stream. I could talk about the icon corner for a long time. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe every stream I should, like, pick one icon and talk about why I have that saint on my wall. That'd be a really cool idea. So I've already talked about Job. I pulled multiple icons off the wall most streams anyways. So yeah, I already responded to this, but Weston said words are just icons themselves. Yeah, we really I tell people all the time, in a broader sense, not just with icons, understand human beings, and Orthodox theology makes sense. Like it is kind of that simple. You are a human. You are made in the image of all the things that theology is about, God. Understanding that, like, understand repetition, and you'll understand why, understand relationships. You'll understand why people repeat things. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I love you so much. I love you. You're the moon, you're wind, the sunshine in my life, whatever. Like, repeating stuff. We repeat stuff in songs. Is that vain repetition? No. That's how humans work, repeating stuff. When I go to the gym and I lift the weight more than once, is that vain repetition? No, because it does something. So repetition does something. If we're not trying to do something, then it can be a problem, and then it's vain. If we think the number itself is what matters, but it does something. So, same with this. Like, if you understand relationships, you understand why you keep family photos. This is my family photo wall. Like, that's it. It's a family photo wall. Like, that's it. It's like that simple. It maintains the bond I have, because instead of, this is what I was talking about earlier, the Catholics you get distracted by the art itself. Sometimes these are beautiful. Like, definitely, I have this Theotokos unfading flower icon. That's my favorite Theotokos icon. And it's like gold leaf Russian style with flowers all over. I love it. Like, it's truly beautiful to me. Most of these are not. Most of these are that's art. I like my St. Herman one here a little bit. I like that St. Seraphim of Sarav has a bear. If an icon of St. Seraphim doesn't have a bear, I'm pretty sure it's a bad icon and you shouldn't have it. That's just my thought. But I said I refuse to have an icon of St. Seraphim of Sarav that does not have a bear in it. It's anything less than that seems wrong. Anyways, but when I look at icons, when I look at icons, I don't see the icon. I see the saint. That's what it means. It's a window to heaven. I see the icon of Saint Paisios right here, and Saint Porphyrios. I got the double one going here. I don't see like, wow, what a beautiful painting of Saint Porphyrios and Saint Paisios. I mean, it's not an ugly one. It's just a painting. But when I look at it, my heart leaps. I'm like, ah, I love these guys. I love these guys. Ah, I love this fat cat. Like, that's how it's supposed to work. So anyways, like, I could go off on this forever, like maybe forever, like all the examples. But the more you understand people, this is why, Thaddeus tangent here. Me personally, and you guys can comment in the chat if you have if you could say, oh, I've totally seen that, or another idea to add to this list. Top 3 careers that I see become Orthodox. First, pastors. Yeah, they're like leading people. They go study the church fathers to like be like, oh, well, where's Christianity coming from? I should know more about its history, whatever. And they go into reading the church fathers, and they're like, oh God, we have a problem. And so I see a lot of pastors become Orthodox, and they don't try and be priests. They're like, have this humility of like, yeah, I did that long enough. Like, I'm going to just live a life of repentance. Now that one of the problems in Protestantism is when you don't really feel spiritual depth, which is very common. I think I felt that. Most Protestants I knew did. What else are you going to do except like go into ministry? You either like work a job and then go to church sometimes, or if you're serious about Jesus, you go become a pastor, which is like unsustainable. Do all the serious people become pastors? Go into ministry? Like everyone works in a soup kitchen? Like what are we going to do? And so in Orthodoxy, it's like, I want to get serious about the spiritual life. Okay. More prostrations, fasting. When Lent comes up, get more serious about it. Like, make sure you're repenting. Go to confession more. Like, we have stuff that anybody can do. Sustainable. Sustainability. All the liberals were right. They just should have been talking about spirituality. But... oh, what was I saying? Man, it's that time of day. I worried about this when I was streaming, that I might space out a lot. But I've been doing pretty well overall, thank God. By God's mercy. Let's see. Yeah, understand people and you'll understand theology. Like, I find it's top 3 jobs. That's what I was on. Forgive me. So first, pastor. Second, going to be very obvious again, historians. I know a lot of people who are history buffs, and then they were studying history and they're like, what's this Orthodox thing? Why are we not that? Why are we not that? Like, I'm Catholic, like, but all the other patriarchs became the Orthodox Church and they stayed together, and Rome was just one patriarch that left. Like, you know, and especially Protestants. I mean, I think it's more obvious for Protestants. I want to be charitable to Catholics. It's more obvious when you're Protestant. I don't want to be charitable to Protestants. No. But I think once you study, it's more obvious to the Protestants. Maybe it's equal because the Catholics know more history, so they should know better, but the Protestants don't know any history, and then when they go learn it, it should be really obvious that like what they have is not from the early church. Like, somebody must have made it up along the way, which they did. It's just like Mormonism, just like Islam. If it pops up in history, that's a huge red flag for someone who actually believes the promises of Scripture. The gates of hell will not prevail over it. The Spirit will lead you into all truth. The faith delivered once for all to the saints, Jude 3 says. Like, all these things set up that there's not going to be a great apostasy, that Christianity is going to last somewhere, a remnant. And so if you popped up somewhere from a dude, you know, Martin Luther, Joseph Smith, Muhammad, like, that's a huge red flag. And then the third job is people in the psychology world, like myself, like people doing social work, especially psychotherapy, counseling, etc. And that's because like a lot of those people convert to Orthodoxy because they understand people well enough to understand that Orthodoxy is actually what's good for them. That constant stay happy rock music and whatever isn't good for people. That debating and arguing all the time isn't good for people. Fasting is actually good for people, and there's mental health benefits from fasting, not just regular health benefits, physical health benefits. And anyone who studies psychology, and it's just very interesting to me that it's extremely, extremely obvious when you studied psychology, that orthodoxy is according to how the mind and heart actually work. So I think that's very interesting. But yeah, that goes back to my earlier point of, if the more you understand people, the more it becomes obvious that Orthodox theology makes sense, and it becomes obvious just what it is in the first place. So let's see. Weston says, if you're ever in Southern Oregon, I'll take you out to lunch. Yes, I would love that. It's been a long time since I was in Southern Oregon, but I've talked with people about going over to Redding, and I could always head a little bit north, or you could come down to Platina, or I would really like to go is St. John's Monastery in Manton, California. If you go, I have to plug this. This is just important. So if you're, let's see. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm mirrored. It's flipped. I think if I flip it, it'll be right for you guys. It doesn't matter. You can figure it out on a map. So if you're in Redding, California, which is Northern California, and you go an hour, yeah, this will be right for you. If I was the map, this would be the right direction. If you go an hour-ish west, you hit Platina, which is where St. Herman of Alaska and Father Seraphim Rose is. But if you go an hour east, you hit Manton, California, which is the home of St. John St. John of Shanghai and San Francisco Monastery. They are Benedictine, which means they have a high emphasis on hospitality in their guests, and they are really wonderful and friendly, and they have a publishing house. They publish a bunch of books. Like, you can find you might look in your book collection and be like, oh, this is from that monastery. But they get really overshadowed because St. Herman's is so close. So I always tell people, please go there. The abbot, I think if you mentioned Thaddeus Patrick, he probably would remember me, because I went there for 2 retreats and was, I'm a personality. Let's put it that way. So he'd probably remember me. But tell him Thaddeus Patrick sent you. And yeah, that monastery is great. And I tell people, if you go to one monastery, you should just go to both. Like, there's no reason not to go to, if you go to St. John's, go to St. Herman's too, and vice versa. But yeah, they're wonderful monasteries. But I try and encourage people all the time, if you're ever in that area, please go to St. John's. There's no reason not to go to St. Herman's and see Father Seraphim Rose. Awesome. But you should go to St. John's. Like, they need the guests, and you feel, when you go to St. Herman's, you are welcomed. But you still feel like a pilgrim. You still feel outside watching monks do monk stuff. And a lot of monasteries you feel like that. Like, I've been to St. Anthony's down in Arizona, where Elder Ephraim was. May he intercede for us. And, you stand in the back area, and there's this whole way in the front area where the monks are. When you're at St. John's, you feel like you're part of it. You feel welcomed. You have a beautiful guest area. You have nice rooms to stay in. It's so welcoming, and it's really balanced. Like, it feels like you're on a pilgrimage, but you feel like you're welcomed in, and you're part of the monastery. The monastery is your event that you're at, and you're in it. So anyways, I just really want to drive home like how wonderful that monastery is, and that everyone should go there, donate to them, buy their books, etc. St. John of Shanghai and San Francisco Monastery. I believe it's the only one dedicated to him. And they have a bunch of his relics there too, which is really cool. Some of his vestments, etc. So does St. Herman's. St. Herman's has some of St. John's Maximovich's vestments and whatnot. Anyways, we're in comment mode. I'm not working on the story right now. Okay, so Orthodox Philip says symbols/words are different from icons, and that icons are likenesses and connect to archetypes in a more intimate way. This is why icons are not optional. They offer something words and symbols don't. I mean, they're different. They're different, but they're not that different. Saying someone's name is extremely intimate. Like, if you've ever studied the psychology of saying someone's name, or I'm trying to figure out how to say this in a way that isn't inappropriate. Anyone who's married and has done married stuff probably has said the other person's names at intimate times. That's all I'm going to say, because I think you get the point. Names are extremely intimate. like if you understand the Jesus prayer and what it means to say, Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on me. Some saints just say the name Jesus. There's power in the name. Like that's I don't think they can be ranked. Like I don't think you could say a name is more intimate or a image is more intimate. And you can say icons are not optional. Words are not optional either. And they offer something words and symbols don't. That I completely agree with, but words and symbols offer something that icons don't. And they're still intimately related. Like you're still like triggering similar parts of the brain. Language is a distinct thing, for sure. Like it is activating parts of the brain, which if brain parts are different, soul parts are for sure different. In the same way that music is different than an icon. We could say it in the brain, we could definitely say it's also spiritually different. Because the things layer with each other. But we definitely can't rank words and images. There's no ranking to them. It's kind of like which is more important, food or water? Well, someone might say, well, you die sooner without water, but it's like, does that make it more important? You die without either of them. Like they're equally important kind of things. So, but I think you make a good point that they're one offers something the other doesn't, but that applies to both of them for sure. But I don't think you could say one is more intimate than the other. They both are just different in how they're intimate. And neither one is optional either. There's no faith comes from hearing, which is words. Faith doesn't come from, well, it does come from seeing. Actually, I'm going to say, taste and see that the Lord is good. But also faith comes through hearing, the scriptures say. So it sounds like it kind of comes through everything. From the Debbie. Oh, from the devil. Yeah, the devil. 9:23:23 says, I do want to ask, since my dad asked me this and I don't quite have an answer, what makes an icon, and an image an image? Oh, that's really good. First off, icon and image are the same word. I believe like the word icon is like a word that's used in scripture, and then it's translated image in English. So when it says in Genesis, I love to ask people, this is one of my gotcha questions. I try not to do those too much because they're kind of like, you offend people more often than you make a good point. But I use it once in a while. I'm like, who in the Bible made the first icon? First image? It's in Genesis. God made the first image. It was an image of himself. So it's not only is this the first image, but it's an icon of God, and it's called man. God makes the first icon. It's man. I'm an icon of God. I'm literally an icon. That's why Christ says, how you treat this icon is how you treated me. We just had Judgment Sunday. Like, Judgment Sunday is about veneration of icons. Like, that's what it's about. As you did unto the least of these. You know, if you spit on this icon, it's like spitting on me. Like, if someone, like, forgive being crass, but, like, pees on a photo of somebody's mom, they get offended by that. That's disgusting. Like, it's not like peeing on dirt. That is symbolic. Like, we know that. We can do all these mental gymnastics. It's just a photo, whatever. And then we don't live like that in real life. And so, anyways, images and icons are the same thing. What's different is the word idol. And what makes an idol is that it is, it connects you to a demon. It connects you to a demon, and so that's the problem with it. Like, if you use images that are good images, like, it's kind of that simple. What's the difference between, like, good words and bad words? Like, well, some produce good and some produce bad. Images are the same. Like, some images lead you to God, some images distract you from God, some images lead you to demons. And so that's what an idol is. Like, they were specific statues of deities, and you would connect to the deity by, like, capturing them in the idol, like a Pokemon. Obviously, Pokemon is pagan idolatry. Okay, maybe not, but maybe there's some interesting symbolism there to think about some other time. But an idol is a specific thing that is an evil image or an evil icon. You could say that. It is an evil one of those. And the deeper problem, even than the demon, or maybe not deeper, maybe this is like words and icons, I can't really rank them, but when you go to the New Testament, you get a little more depth. Paul is talking about all these problematic things in one of his epistles, and he makes this big list. And the last one he says, and covetousness, which is idolatry. The New Testament says that covetousness is idolatry. Okay, I thought it was images, or at least it's idols, but it's covetousness. Well, the real problem with, like, the real reason you go to this little icon, this little evil icon, this idol of a pagan deity, is because you want something. You give it a little sacrifice and you're like, please give me a good crop, trade. Like, again, we're back at Pokemon, we're trading. Dude, Pokemon is idolatry. The Protestants were right, it's from the devil. I was raised with, like, some people telling me that Pokemon was evil. Did you know Mon means monster? Did you know a monster is a word for an imaginary creature? So, like, it's weird scare tactics. Anyways, but now I've finally proven it. Like, now you're trading. It's just like pagan idols. But anyways, yeah, that's like the deeper problem. Like, that's what the demon is preying upon, is that you want to be transactional. And what they're fostering in you is more of that transactionality like them. They're selfish. They want you to be selfish. God is the opposite. He's thinking of you. He loves you. He's self-giving. And the way to be close to him is to be like him. To also be on your cross, just like Christ is on his. To have that sacrificial love. And so idols are things that come between us and God. We don't, just like Protestants say that weird line where they're like, why go to this person when I can go straight to God? And I'm like, did you think about those words before you said them? What do you mean? Have you ever asked, like, a lot of times I'm like, you asked me to pray for you. Why do you ask me to pray for you unless you just go to God? They're like, because they haven't thought of that. They were just generating lawyer things to say to win the court case. With the inner lawyer. I have a video about that too. The inner lawyer is very interesting psychology. But, yeah, it's like, I'm going to them because they're my friends and I love them. Like, you asked me just like you asked them. The issue is the person actually leading you to God or not? Which is why a false teacher who claims to love Jesus but is teaching false things, you don't go to him. He doesn't actually lead you to God, even though he says the name. There's a reason, like, I don't go to Mormonism. Yeah, so that's, feel free to ask more, 92323, but that's kind of the gist of it. An image is something that is not a thing, but connects us to the thing. Like, that's the real broadest thing. Even words are images in that sense, but I think that that's fair. Words are a kind of image. Different, but they're working similar mechanisms. Your eyes take in shapes, and they're reminded of something and drawn to it. Like, both an icon and words do that. That's what they have in common. And so those are all images. But an idol, it is a specific image designed to connect us to a demon, and in the broader spiritual sense, which is more important even, I might say, I don't like ranking them, but I think in practice, in real life, none of my homies are like, worshiping Baal with a little Baal statue, like whatever, or an Asherah pole, which is a dill. Anyways, let's keep it PG on the stream. But, it's literally, like, if you go read the descriptions of Asherah poles and they've been dug up, like, they are literally they're a phallus, like, they're male genital. And there were male prostitutes surrounding them that did stuff with people. And that's why Yahweh kept being like, if you keep allowing that crap in Israel, I'm going to smite you again. And the Babylonians are going to come and kick your butts. Like, it was gross. So, anyways, let's see here. I got someone asking about the live stream. Let me apologies everyone. I always feel bad. I pause for like 2 seconds. I'm like, everybody's bored. No one wants to be here anymore. But I can at least explain. Okay. I'm sorry. Everyone disconnected. It's all over. The stream's ended. It's the worst thing that's ever happening because I was gone for 5 seconds. Let's see. Orthodox Philip says the word icon doesn't exist in patristic writings because icon in Greek just means image. Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly. Good to see you cover that too. For us, it means images within the Orthodox tradition. Yeah, I think that's 100% fair. Yeah, let's see what Thaddeus says. I say that you're right, so now case closed. You got where two or more are gathered, so that just means we're right for sure. That's why you got to have a yes man, because then you're always right. He just agrees with everything you say. But no, I think that's fair. They mean the same thing, except that now we've come to mean, in English at least, to mean an icon is a church image, like a special kind of church image. So that's really fair, and I think that goes back to 923:23's question. Like that really is something I'm glad I didn't miss. So thank you for mentioning that, Philip. Weston says he's been to St. John's. Heck yeah. Oh, St. John's is awesome. Makes sense. You said you're southern Oregon, so makes sense. Philip says, have you ever been to the Holy Monastery of the Life-Giving Springs in Dunlap, California? Funny enough, literally just today, one of my friends was like, do you want to go to the Monastery of the Life-Giving Springs? And I was like, where is it? Talking to them about it. I was just talking about it with Mother Markella, who I know nothing about except people at my parish seem to love that monastery. So I know Mother Melania, who's from, I think, a monastery in Southern California. I don't know which one it is. She just, when I was at St. John's, the 2 times I was at St. John's Monastery, near Redding in Manton, Mother Melania came and spoke. Wonderful. I use things that she said in those speeches in my coaching, in my articles. I've talked about them on the stream. I talked about them last stream. So I've always wanted to go to her monastery. I don't even know where it is. I could probably find it really easily. But yeah, I don't know anything about Life-Giving Spring except that there's a Mother Markella there that everybody loves, and tons of people at my parish go there. I'm tell them, like, why didn't you invite me? So that I could say, I don't have any gas money until you know. Like, it's so rude. Shout out, Jeremy says, shout out to St. Michael the Archangel Monastery in New Mexico. Yeah, there's a lot of people at our parish that love that monastery. One of the couples and their daughter, who I'm very close to, the mom, she sometimes is like a third assistant teacher in our high school class. She's great. She's like my parish mom. They have a second home near that monastery in New Mexico, so she's there often. And I believe the abbot is her spiritual father. So Jeremy, you can post who the abbot is. I forget his name. But yeah, I've always wanted to go there too, because those are like the 2 monasteries that they talk about a lot at my parish, and it's funny, I've never been to either one of them. Philip says, sorry, I didn't mean my ranking. Oh, going back to icons and words. My point was reducing icons to symbols or words does a disservice to their unique role in Trinitarian theology and anthropology. Only icons are likenesses or prototypes. That is totally fair. Yeah, they are something different. Even though there's like the Venn diagram overlaps, it is not the same circle. Spot on. Yeah, totally fair. So I appreciate your nuance that you added. Let's see here. I can get back to the story. I feel like I was talking about something before I went to the chat messages, but it probably doesn't matter. So anyways, where we were at in the story was, I was reading this on the way home, the drive from Redding back to Portland, Oregon, and I was really moved by it. I remember reading it and thinking something along the lines of, like, I think this guy gets it. Like everything. Like, or something. There's something he knows. I would say the grace of God is in the text. Like, there's something about reading the words of a holy monk that just conveys something to you, just like the scriptures. Yeah, dude, if I'm ever in Melbourne, I'd love to hang out, love to chill. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I don't travel much. I can't afford it, which is fine. I live a humble, meager life that I like. More and more thankful for every year, even though it gets like simpler every year, with my health issues and whatever. And my coaching. Like, I don't talk about this a lot, but my coaching, I make just enough to live. Like, I pay rent, pay food, pay a couple bills. I don't have much extra money. I mean, I might buy like a $5 or $10 video game. I do not buy any new games. I don't don't buy video games that often, but I eat simple, eat healthy because of my diet and my health issues, and I get to help people. Like in the handful of people that come to me for coaching, and it's a good life. Like I'm very thankful for it, but it also means like I don't really do bonus stuff. I don't really travel or anything. But God willing, one day maybe. Like if I'm ever in the area, that would be absolutely awesome. But otherwise, I'm definitely happy to do something. Like if you want me on your channel or something, for sure. So Ace, what's up? Welcome. Good to see you. Yeah. So getting back to the story. I was reading Elder Thaddeus, and I remember thinking he kind of gets it. And deep down, some of the stuff I wouldn't say I was thinking at the time, but in later reflection, it was what was going on. I went to Bible college originally. Like if you watch my last stream, I went to the Bible college because one of my friends was telling me all about it, and I was like, I'll get into youth ministry because I've worked with kids a lot, and I like kids. And I mean, deep down, I'm just a giant child. Like I entertain kids by going, what do I want to do? What do I think looks fun? Like on the playground or something. And then the kids follow me and they're like, this is so fun. I'm like, yeah, I knew it would be fun. That's why I did it. Little idiot. Kids love me. I'm great. I got dad energy. But yeah, it's so I like bullying them, and kids, if they can tell that you love them, they like being bullied. It's when you're actually trying to hurt them, or when you don't love them, that they're offended. But you make fun of them. You can say insulting words like, man, if we were all so pure, like pure as that example, you can be like, oh, that's really dumb, and they like laugh and giggle. It's like they could tell if you love them or not. That's what's communicated before even the words. Anyways, this is a tangent here, but deep down, what I was looking for the time I was in college was how to figure out what the heck was wrong with me. Like why was I unhappy? Why was I cutting? Why was I drinking? I mean, I was cutting before while I was in Bible college, and I started drinking heavily afterwards. And I was just unhappy, and I wanted to die. Like I've talked about this before, but like I would pray that God would kill me. And I was like, I know it's wrong to do, so I'm not going to do it. But Lord, if there's any chance that you would kill me and like not be mad at me, like you did it or something, like please, like I don't want to live. Like I'm so sick and tired of like how painful and miserable. I don't know how other people keep living. Like I don't understand it. What's keeping them going? Because there's nothing I really care about. Yeah, and so it was like, a lot of it was like gut related mental health. I've already talked about that before too. But so it was like making it worse. But I didn't have anything that I really cared about. I wanted to be married, have a girlfriend, kids, whatever. But I was like, I don't even know. I just have to, like, I have to be alive. I just have to. Like, okay. And there's some people that like do that in a cringy way. Like, I didn't ask to be born. But I have empathy for it. Like, if you're not being too cringy about it, because I felt that way. I was just like, Lord, like I want to have a reason to want to be alive. Like I'm not trying to throw a little tantrum here, but I genuinely don't understand. And so like I have a lot of compassion for people who are like, I didn't ask to be born, and I'm like, big relate. But now here I am, and I'm thankful that I'm alive now. Thank God. So, Gabriel, good to see you. Welcome. Not Gabe. Yes. I know a lot of Gabriels, so I'm realizing my brain was like, oh, it's that Gabriel. Are you Gabriel from church, Gabriel from Twitter, or Gabriel from Spokane, or a different Gabriel? I might even know several Gabriels from Twitter, but I know Orthodox Gabriel from Twitter. Yeah, Philip gets where I'm coming from. So, yeah, and I was looking in my Bible and theology classes to figure out what the heck to do, like what's wrong with me. And I was also in psychology. It's like one of these has got to have it, right? Like one of these has got to have like do this mental health practice, or do this prayer, read this Bible verse, take this medication or something. I never took medication, thank God. Thank you, Weston. Good to hear that there's two of us. Now we've confirmed it. It's correct. It's good that I'm alive because you were glad too. Two people sharing, so it's correct opinion now. Anyways, yeah, I'm looking at like Bible and psychology. I'm like, one of these has got to fix me. But I remember reading through this book, reading, first his life and then some of his teachings. And in my heart, I kind of like knew that maybe he knew something about this. Like maybe he knew. And even just reading it, we were reading this last Thursday, and we're going to read more of it this Thursday. Like I was reading it and I was tearing up a little bit because I was like, dude, he was so unhappy as a kid and like horrible stuff. Not like he was a whiner. Like a mom died, a second mom died, third mom wasn't very nice. He was super sick. He was depressed. He was lonely. Other kids didn't play with him. And he was like a little sweetheart. Like he even was like a people pleaser where he's like, I was worried that I was gonna disappoint the monks I worked for. And I'm like, dude, oh my gosh, we would have been homies, but we're homies now, so that's good enough for me. Glory to God. But yeah, something about reading him even at the time, like I didn't really click with everything, and I was just like, whoa, something here. This man's onto something. And when I got back, I kind of took a break. Like I was somewhere halfway through, maybe a little further, and I kind of, set it aside and worked on other things and was doing all this research and stuff. But part of what happened, D-Rock, thanks for being here. I'm happy to share. And these streams are recorded, so if you just got here or if you're leaving, come back later, you can always catch up or whatever, but these are very casual streams. I was starting to have a respect for Orthodoxy. I didn't want to go to the services, but I respected it, and I liked this Thaddeus guy, and I was hanging out with some of these Orthodox people I knew now, and what I set out to do was to do an honest investigation, and I was like, there's something cool about Orthodoxy actually, but I think they're probably wrong, and maybe I could take some of these cool things back to Protestantism. You cannot do that. Orthodoxy is all or nothing. The truth is all or nothing. You can't chop it up into little pieces and a la carte it like typical Protestant mode. And so, but that I wasn't sure what I was gonna do. But I remember starting to. I was like the most logical thing. Like if you read Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, you go through, it's all history, and it says don't forget what God has done. And it's like history is the number one genre in Scripture, especially the Old Testament. But the Book of Acts, like the Gospels are technically history. Like and you're getting little snippets of history through every single writing in Scripture. And then it just dead ends. So I figured, why not read where the Scriptures leave off? And so I did research on that, and I was like, oh, this is obviously like the Didache, the letters of St. Ignatius of Antioch. If you haven't read these, I think every Christian, every Protestant, I try and get to read these if I can, because I'm like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you read the writings next in line of chronology and authority after the Scriptures? These are written by either the apostles themselves wrote the Didache or people very close to them, and then Ignatius of Antioch was mentored by the apostles to be one of the next overseers, like Matthias was, and like Paul, elected later by Christ himself. So like they should be taken very seriously, and most of all, they bear fruit. Like they bear amazing spiritual fruit. When you read these writings, it's clear there's something special going on. Maybe they're not Scripture, but they're next in line, like of importance. And so I just started working from there. Read those two, read The Martyrdom of Polycarp, and I read The Life of St. Anthony, which now St. Anthony is right there. Gotta figure out the mirroring. And he's one of my absolute favorite saints, the founder of monasticism. Highly recommend. If someone asks me for what they should read first in the Fathers, I usually say the Didache, the letters of Ignatius of Antioch, The Life of St. Anthony, which is by St. Athanasius, and also St. Athanasius is on the Incarnation. To me, those give you a balance of history and spirituality that's just like a great intro. And then from there, there's other things to read. You could probably read the Martyrdom of Polycarp if you're really wanting the very beginning. Irenaeus, St. Justin Martyr, there's lots of stuff. But those four are my go-to. And I read both of those, and I was like, whoa, this sounds like Orthodoxy. In this process, I discovered St. Vincent of Lorraine, who I talked about earlier, right here with a Christian should believe what was believed always, everywhere, and by all. And I'm reading all of this, and I'm like, this is all very Orthodox. Like, there's not all, I was expecting there to be a lot more nuance, but it's all very Orthodox. And, let's see, I wonder if Gabriel's still here. I don't know if you heard me ask, like, which Gabriel he is, that I see in the chat. But, anyways, yeah, I started reading these things, and they were, like, making me uncomfortable because I was like, Orthodoxy is a good case. I thought it was going to present, like, some good points, but it was a lot more than I thought. And what I even did was I went back to one of my college professors, and I remember asking him, what do you think about Orthodoxy? And I expected him to, like, shred it. Maybe he'd even say it was totally wrong, but I expected him to tell me, like, all the dirt on Orthodoxy. And he sat there for a second and was like, kind of wishy-washy. And I was like, it's not what I was expecting. And he's like, I just don't like the fact that they call themselves the true church. And I remember thinking, that's it? That's it? That's what you got? Like, no offense to him, but, like, that's it? Like, all you got's that? You're not Orthodox, and all you got is you don't like that they call themselves the true church? What if they are the true church? God could do what... Like, I remember just thinking to myself, God could do whatever the heck he wants. If he wants one true church, which is what's described in the scriptures, why can't he do that? And it's mainly, like, deep down, Protestants don't want their experience invalidated, which is valid, and Orthodoxy, the thing is, I'll tell them, Orthodoxy doesn't do that. You don't have to say, I didn't know God at all whatsoever and nothing was real. Like, Orthodoxy doesn't teach that. But that's what most people are trying to protect. Or protect their ministry. Like, I have this great ministry. Admitting Orthodoxy is true means my ministry was wrong. But the rich young ruler, Christ tells, he thinks he's got everything right, and he's like, give up everything you have. Oh, okay. I think I remember sending you that document, because I've only sent that document to a couple people, Gabriel. But, yeah, glory to God. Good to have you, man. So when he said that, I was like, uh-oh. I asked him to give me points for Protestantism, and he just gave me a point for Orthodoxy. And I'm reading all of these writings, and I'm like, everything here points to Orthodoxy, and I'm not finding the papacy. Like, there's some proof texts and events you can point to, but, like, these people clearly, if the papacy was what the Catholics said, they would be talking about it a lot. Like, you would be constantly hearing, like, and of course, we revere the sacred see of Peter. We hear the scriptures. The Protestants, on this one, the Protestants have a better case. They're like, the scriptures, appeal to the scriptures, read the scriptures. The Vincentian canon even talks about the scriptures. Always, everywhere, and by all includes the scriptures, like the scriptures. You don't see all these writings about, like, now make sure you go to the Pope, check with the Pope, figure out what the Pope thinks. Like, you just don't see it. If you're not looking for the Pope, the papacy in the early church, you do not find it. You have to be looking for it. And you can find some proof text for it. You can find proof text for anything. If you want to find Unitarianism in the scriptures, you can find it, even though there's a bunch of scriptures that'll prove you wrong. If you want to find the papacy, even though there's a bunch of stuff that'll prove you wrong, you'll find the proof text for it. But I went in just being like, I really want to be honest and objective. I can't do that. No human can be actually objective. But you can try. You can make an effort. You can use some skills. You can have some self-doubt, all these different things. And I'm like, if I'm reading this as someone who's, like, open to anything, and I'm not getting the papacy, that's for sure. But I'm not getting sola scriptura either. I'm getting the whole family constantly checking against everyone who came before. That's what you constantly see in every father, every council you see. That's why they value the scriptures, because it's one of the most important contributions to doing that. And eventually, I got so, and you of course run into lots of problems. You run into, like, how do I know? Like, people say, oh, the church fathers are fallible. That's not a good argument. Like what they're just doing is making some excuse to not listen to the fathers. They're not actually making an argument to listen to them, but all they're doing is dismissing the fathers so that they can continue to believe what they want. Oh, the fathers could be wrong. It's like, yeah, you could be wrong too. What does that matter? Like, yeah, they could be wrong, but, like, they're closer to the apostles and you're not. They're from the same culture. You're not. You're wildly removed from them. Like, even if you're on the same plane as them, and I think they're probably holier than you or I are, but even if we're on the same plane as them, they're still more likely to know what the apostles taught. They're not. It's not like, oh, there's a middleman. It's like, no, they're reading the scriptures. If you read it and it doesn't make sense, you can disagree with them, sure. But like, they carry weight the fact that they have an opinion. It's not a middleman. You still can read the scriptures. And I usually, if I'm talking to Protestants about this, I'm like, which one is more likely to be right? Me and the scriptures, or me and the scriptures in 2,000 years of church history? No one's precluding my ability to read the scriptures by appealing to church history. They frame it that way so that it can be this easy straw man to knock down. But when you frame it the actual truthful way, like that, you realize that obviously, why would we not look to church history? I mean, you're not obligated to agree with every single thing you read. I think you are obligated to agree with what's believed always, everywhere, and by all. But even if they don't agree with that, like, yeah, it's just a weird deflection. And I always say to them, there's just no way in heck that I know better than St. Ignatius of Antioch. And he said, where the bishop is, there is the church. Do you think he's lying? Do you think the apostles were incompetent teachers? Is it more likely that he's the problem or that I'm the problem? I'm going to say me. So, and even the Bible, of course, is established by the church. We already talked about that. Also, another thing I wanted to talk about, let's see, what time is it? Oh, 8. Okay, cool. I still got a bit of time here. Man, I might even finish this next part because I kind of talked about this stuff in past streams. So, it says we got 7 congruent viewers. Oh, let me check the comment here. 92323. I mean, Arius used the scriptures, he says. He was horribly wrong about them, but he sure did use them. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, like St. Augustine, St. John Chrysostom, many comment like, oh yeah, the heretics quote the scriptures. Like, quoting the scriptures, you need to do that, but it also doesn't mean anything. It doesn't prove anything. Double checking, I didn't miss any super chats here. Cool, just Jeremy. So another thing that was important to me, and I've kind of touched on this, including, it's funny that I was talking about Vincentian canon just coincidentally, and then he ties into this bunch of stuff, because I was talking about random icons that I like on here. Truth is consistent. That's a major factor when it comes to truth. I mean, some things change in life, but generally truth, when we claim things are truth, they're consistent. It's a very good test for truth. This applies in the sciences. This is why there's a replicability crisis, because people did studies and said that something was true, and then when people go back and try and replicate it, they can't, meaning it's inconsistent results with what they claimed. And so that suggests it's not scientific, it's not true. We also have the theme, God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Truth is consistent. And so when we have Jude 3 saying the faith was delivered once for all to the saints, the true faith should be consistent. It should be the same in every century. This is why it very logically implies that we should be able to look back and believe what was believed always, everywhere, and by all, as St. Vincent says. And so when you see that the Catholic Church not only changes, not only says they develop new doctrines, but they contradict themselves constantly, especially recently. I mean, if you go back several centuries, you get the teaching from popes, and I think Aquinas taught this too, that anyone not under Rome is damned. This was a teaching for eras of Catholicism. Then, in the last century, we started to say that Orthodox sacraments are valid and Protestants are separated brethren. Okay, stretching, maybe that's all right. I mean, maybe that's closer to the early church than all not under Rome are damned. But you're still changing it again. And now Muslims worship the same God. And, well, yeah, but that's not Hindus. And then statements come out from the Catholic Church about Hindus worshiping the same God. Yeah, 923.23 says, just comparing Vatican I and Vatican II is a mess. Yeah, so it's like, that can't be the truth. And then you look at Protestantism, and it still blows Catholicism, even in its modern hot mess, out of the water. I'm not going to be ridiculous and quote one of those 4,000, 10,000, even 2,000 numbers. There's not that many. Those numbers, when you're citing those count Orthodox groups, and it counts them as multiple denominations, like Rokor and Russia, Moscow Patriarchate, and OCA, and Antiochian is counting those. So that is I talked about this early on the stream. We need to really try hard to be intellectually honest, and those are not intellectually honest numbers. I think I would say hundreds, which is probably pretty fair, like hundreds, and it makes our point just fine. Even the Catholic Church, with all its Vatican contradictions, does not have hundreds of different perspectives, but in Protestantism there's hundreds. And I think that makes our point more than well enough without any risk of exaggeration or confusion or conflict. It's easily defensible. Go on Wikipedia, look up like the list of Protestant denominations and sub-denominations. There's hundreds. There's not 2,000. There's not 4,000. Anyways, I just don't like being intellectually dishonest about things, and I would much rather be corrected, even though I get uncomfortable. I still have an ego, so someone's like, that's wrong, and I'm like, oh crap, I was just saying that was super important, and it's actually totally wrong. Still annoying, but would rather be called out with God's help. So, anyways, truth is consistent. That's very key. I'm just kind of going through some of the things that convicted me when I started to try to prove orthodoxy wrong, and it backfired on me. You also have God promising to protect the truth. I already talked about this a bit too. Any teaching of great apostasy, especially if you, like the Mormons eventually started teaching, they went back into history and found out that everyone was basically Orthodox. So they were like, the apostasy must have happened like immediately. And so, like, you got to suggest the apostles are incompetent. All of this stuff is bad, whatever. Oh, is that John in the chat? Brother, wonderful to see you. I've had sessions with Thaddeus. For everyone watching, his sessions have helped me in my worst times. You should listen close to him. Would recommend to anyone who is struggling with orthodoxy. Yes, put your ear like right here next to my mouth and listen close. I might bite it. Anyways, thank you, man. I appreciate that so much. I really appreciate that, and I hope I would be nice. I feel like this goes without saying. It would be nice to like have people come sign up for my coaching through my streams, but also super chats are great. Like if someone has like a small little donation here, but also just asking questions. Literally, if you ask questions, you keep the discussion going, have content. I thrive on questions. I can ramble and keep talking, but questions are always the best. And of course, you can share. I would really encourage anyone, more than anything, go watch the videos on my channel, not these silly streams, but go watch my lectures and my talks. And if you like them, share them with people that you think could be relevant. My video on the toll houses, I got a lot of positive feedback on that. Glory to God for that. That's something people struggle a lot with. So not only for your own sake, but if you have friends, go watch the video on the toll houses and then keep it like in your back pocket. So if you meet people, I meet people all the time who are like, the toll houses confuse me so much. There's a video for them. I have a video on the Holy Fools that I got really good feedback on. I have a video on the noose. That's another big one. People are like, what the heck is the noose? My video, I've had people say it's the best content they've ever seen on the noose, and it's mostly because I just stole all of it. Like I just picked from lots of different saints and writings and books that I read, and a little bit from psychology because it's relevant, and some of my own analysis, combined it all, and it's the one video I draw. Like I do a drawing and do quadrants where I explain it from all these different angles to really exhaustively explain what it is and how it applies to our spiritual life, and a lot of different stuff. Anyways, go watch that stuff. So Gabriel asks, what are your thoughts on the Orientals? Well, I think they're really over there. They're like very much to the east. Yeah, that's what Oriental means. Orient is the east. The Orient on high is the star in the east. The Orientals, I recommend them. Respect. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't be reading comments while I'm talking. I respect the Orientals a lot. They are, I think, just objectively the closest to us. They're closer than the Catholics. They're closer than any of the Protestants. I think the simplest thing for me to appeal to, because I'm not an expert, and I haven't even done enough study to have like a basic, I know a basic understanding, but this is closed book for me. Our saints say that their theology is a problem, and that they were separated because they were stubborn about theology. Doesn't mean the modern Orientals are stubborn. People change. But that is the position of the saints consistently, that they were in the wrong on theology at the time. It's not a miscommunication. I said that for a while because I heard some people say that oh, they had a linguistic misunderstanding. Okay, how come 0 of our saints say that, and our saints say that were wrong? No, our church has declared what the problem was, and so God bless people who are trying to be charitable, but you're venturing into the actual dangers of ecumenism at that point. Be charitable, but don't say that it was just a linguistic thing when all of our saints say otherwise. Saint Paisios, you can watch. There's YouTube videos that just that are scrolling past with all these quotes of the saints saying the same thing. This is what was going on. So part of when it comes to the actual thing we disagree about, I actually have a collection that's 3 volumes. That's the entire minutes of the council. It's sealed, and it's still sealed after all these years because I don't even know if I'll ever read it. I may end up selling it. And I also have a 3rd volume that's a companion volume that's the council, the 4th council, which is the one we split over, Chalcedon in context. And so I've always wanted to read that because I've always wanted to understand this problem. But I talked about this before. This is not my priority. My priority is Orthodox therapy, therapeutic orthodoxy, and the dialogue between psychology and whatever. And so I'll talk apologetics, but investing an immense amount of time into one particular subject, I'll go learn the filioque stuff and I'll talk about it here, like I did earlier in the stream. But if I'm going to read a book, it's probably going to be Orthodox psychotherapy related. It's probably going to be something about spiritual growth and advice from saints and stuff that's edifying for me too. Stuff like that. There's other guys that handle that stuff. So I really want to read it, but I may also just sell it one day. I think all 4 volumes together are worth $100, and it's sealed. It's brand new. So anyways, however, I will give you one thing. I teach high school Sunday school because I like explaining things and I like hard questions. So works well for a high school Sunday school teacher. They can ask whatever questions they want, and then I can show them that they don't know anything at all. The real joy. Just trampling over them and humiliating them in front of everyone. Anyways, geez, I don't know. Did I say that out loud? So we were talking about the Oriental Orthodox at one point and their theology, and the thing that I can say about them is, and their theology specifically, is that I would explain the problem like this. So they claim that Christ has a unified nature. We called them monophysites. They like to say miaphysites, which is kind of saying the same thing. But mia is it comes together, and mono is one. And so they like to say it's a unified nature, which still implies the aspects of the 2 natures. And we just say 2 natures: fully God, fully man. The nature of man, the nature of God, they don't mix in some way. They are both coexistent in the same person, but they are both distinct. They don't mia. They're not mono, and they don't mia. They are 2. And so I think they call us diophysites, which is fine. I'm a filthy diophysite, sure. But the way I was explaining it to the students is I was saying, look, when they say this, they're treating God and man like they are these things that mix, and they're not. It doesn't work like that. And I said, it's kind of like saying, this is the best example I have. I would love someday if someone who knows theology better to correct me. Maybe I'll go ask Jonathan Hill or somebody. Ask a bunch of people, but I think this is a good analogy. Everyone I've said it to so far has seemed to say that actually makes a lot of sense. Imagine I have this trumpet, and the trumpet's painted blue. Anyone who's seen How I Met Your Mother, I guess that's where I'm getting that from. Anyways, this trumpet is painted blue, and also when I play it, it's loud. It's very loud. So I say 2 attributes of this trumpet: it's blue and it's loud. Now imagine if someone comes along and says, well, yes, but since it's one trumpet, the blue and the loud become mia. They become one thing. They unite and they become loudness. And it's that's just nonsense. Blue and loudness are 2 different things. It's fully blue. It's all painted blue. Even the inside got painted blue. It got dunked. and it's loud. The whole thing is loud. It's like it's just one long tube, and it makes a lot of noise, and it fills the room with loudness. It's both of these things fully, like they fully accurately describe it. But there's not this thing called loudness. That's just nonsense. I would say that that's what the Miaphysites, the Orientals, are doing, is they're trying to like say that God and man mixes together, and it's like, why does it need to mix? It's just completely unnecessary. Like there isn't a reason for it. It's like this very abstract in your head thing, and that's the thing with our theology, is we're like the saints learn the theology from experience. The people who are teaching heresies get it from like abstract reasoning, and so this was like them listening to abstract reasoning and being like, well, if it goes together in Christ, the natures must go together too, and it's like, nope, they're totally distinct. Blue and loud, two different things. Just because something is fully blue and fully loud doesn't mean there's loudness. And so that's the best way that I explain it. Now, if somehow, and I don't know the mechanisms of this, if somehow the Orientals admitted that there was a problem with that, and that our theology was correct, maybe they could keep some of their wordings or whatever, there's a chance at reunion, and I'd love to see them be reunified if it was authentic. Glory to God. I would love if it was a real reunion. I would absolutely cherish that. Same with the Catholics. They just would have a lot to undo. They would have a lot to undo. But that would be a joy. But we already have a bishop of Rome. We literally have an Orthodox bishop of Rome. It's not like the church is missing anything. That is, anyone who says that is very bad theology, and that's very concerning. They're not listening to the fathers. But anyways, I could probably say more about the Orientals, but that's all I have to say right now. And 92323 comment on this. I visited a Coptic church in Clearfield and didn't like it. There was zero English and the incense smelled awful and burned my nose. This is probably not how you judge a church. That's fair, but I mean, why that incense? Yeah, that's a little weird. Anyways, yeah, that's very funny. Yeah, and I always want, what I really want, I always find the best stories, the most powerful stories, are people who had the experience firsthand. So like, when I want to know more about Buddhism, the best person is a Buddhist convert to Orthodoxy. Like someone who's Orthodox that used to be Buddhist, because they know what it's like to be fully into it. Not read a book, to see the effect it has on their soul, and then now they have the truth and they've been living that, so they can compare the two like deep noetic experiences of living one and then the other. And I'd love to see more former Coptics. I know several. There's like at least a couple on my Discord server. Former Coptics who became Eastern Orthodox. I would love to hear more of their stories, because that's like the most powerful thing there is. John says, I recommend your video on Nihilism by Father Seraphim Rose. You understand the history and religiosity of rationalism and its connection to Western Christianity. Thank you. I appreciate that. That video is long. I should have split it into 2 parts. I would recommend, like, watch one part and come back later, watch the other if it's too long. Because it's like 2 hours, I think, maybe longer. Because the first part is I go through... I can't even remember which one I do first. One is like the history of knowledge and noetic, and I think I kind of replaced that a bit if you watch the video on the Noose, it's like similar, but it's a different approach. And then the other half is I go through the 4 stages of how the West changed things, from the paradisical view, like view 0, which is the early church view, to liberalism, to realism, which is like materialism. Liberalism is like talking about God, but you don't really connect to him anymore. Rationalism, realism is materialism. Sorry, not rationalism. It's related, but materialism, like the new atheists. Vitalism, which is where you kind of recover from that and go, oh, there's a spiritual world, but then you don't believe in God. You just are pagans again. It's like a reverse death and resurrection back to paganism. And then after that doesn't satisfy you, you've been trying to find spiritual happiness without God. Then you go to the nihilism of destruction, where you try and break the very fabric of reality itself, physics, morality, etc. You try and break things to figure out how am I supposed to be a god? I know I want to be a god. Anyways, Father Seraphim Rose's book Nihilism talks about this, and it's phenomenal. That book is kind of heady. Like I love it. If you can read it, read it. It's not super long. It's dense. It took me a while, even though it's very short. But that was the best part of the book, in my opinion, was these 4 stages. And I do a whole video about it. So that's what John is referring to. So if you view, it's like Father Seraphim Rose, Nihilism and the Orthodox View of Knowledge, or something like that. But yeah, I would watch that one if that sounds interesting to you. Franklin Good says, how come you chose Thaddeus? Yeah, I was kind of talking about that a little bit earlier. it was just because he was so influential. Like, he really softened my heart to Orthodoxy. And where I'm at in my story was kind of like he triggered this. Like, I was like, oh, I need to look into Orthodoxy because I'm kind of curious about it, and I like this guy, and I like what he teaches. And he's not canonized as a saint yet. He will be. Serbia said they will, but at the time I had no idea. I didn't even know what that meant. And, you know, he was just a guy, and he didn't have saint in front of his name. So, but I'm reading this book, this copy right here, and then I go and investigate all of this stuff I've been talking about how truth is consistent, and God promised to protect the truth, and where did the Bible come from, and how do I know better than the apostles, and I'm reading this stuff, and I'm getting very convicted. Finally, after about 3 months, I spent a whole summer looking into this stuff, reading a couple writings here and there in different articles. I would read Protestants refute Orthodoxy, Orthodox refute Protestants, Catholics versus Orthodoxy, Orthodox versus Catholics. Like, I'd read all of them, and it just was like, Orthodoxy has a really strong case. And that was eventually what led me to start attending the Orthodox Church. So this whole arc that I've been talking about, this whole stream, has been like just me discovering Orthodoxy and what convinced me to start going to the church. And so for a lot of Protestants, like, this is what makes them, they go on the same journey where they read. I know several guys whose patron saint is Ignatius of Antioch, because that was the guy they read, the student of the apostles, and elected by them to take their place, intensely discipled by them to understand everything about Christianity, and you go read his writings and he sounds like he's Orthodox. And it's like, I guess I gotta go to that church. So, like, a lot of people are Orthodox just because of St. Ignatius's letters. And I would certainly attribute, like, him as a major source of my conversion. I think the last thing that convinced me to go to church, really, really key here, I've got in my notes. Worship in Protestantism is whatever you feel like you want to do. Gosh, you know, Napoleon Dynamite. Whatever I feel like I want to do. Flipping idiots. I can worship how I want. That, like, Protestantism, it's whatever you feel like, which is, like, they don't quite word it that way, even though that's exactly what it is. Hey, pure love of God, good to see ya. And Orthodox Thomas too, awesome, good to see you guys. Okay, I'm gonna finish this and I'll get back to the chat. The last thing I'll say is this theme of worship. I was really starting to question it, and this goes back, I was talking earlier in the stream that when you understand people, you understand theology. Like, it's a very big principle that I'm very much standing on. I thought about making a channel for a while called A Religion for Human Beings. Like, everything in Orthodoxy meets, the more you learn about humans, the more you'll learn that Orthodoxy is perfect for us. Like, every faculty that we have, Orthodoxy addresses it. It's the complete toolkit with every single tool we need for healing and managing and maintaining and maximizing the human being. And the saints are proof that it works. And so Protestants, Catholics, heck, even like Buddhists and atheists might have some of the tools. Like, oh, be nice to people. They know a little bit. But, just a sec, I need water. Go in my fancy schmancy kitchen here. I've needed water for some time. Oh, much better. I'm being dehydrated and then I just drink more coffee. So it started to hit me that worship, first of all, worship is something that very clearly in the Bible, God reveals it. There's nothing about you making up your own worship. Like, I mean, you can break out in a song or something, like, you know, David dances naked. I don't recommend that, but I mean, it's technically biblical. Come on, Protestants. No, they'll do it. Don't remind them. The charismatics might. Oh, Lord have mercy. In the Bible, worship is revealed. It's revealed. And God tells us how to worship. And in the New Testament, they literally meet in the synagogues. The Christians meet in the synagogues until they get kicked out. And then they build house churches, and people are like, oh, they had small groups and sang Kumbaya and played guitar. the blessed guitar of Antioch of unbreaking strings, like this relic of the Protestants. No, like when we've dug up the buildings, they look like Orthodox churches. They have this space with the candle stand and the altar, and like they all stood in there and served the liturgy. They look like a mini synagogue too. And so there's no sense that you make this yourself. No, like that's less than 500 years old. Even the Lutherans are very liturgical. Even the Anglicans are very liturgical. Anyone saying you can do whatever you want, like they're goofier than Napoleon Dynamite. Like you can't do whatever you feel like you want to do. Gosh. So, but as I'm going, like I'm thinking about, first of all, that seems to be true. Like I've been wrong. What I was raised with was wrong. You can't just make your own worship. God reveals worship. Worship seems to, and worship is understood by Protestants as like, they take what the worship of demons is, and also what their ego, which is similar to the demons, is, and they project it onto God. And they don't know better. But unfortunately, that's what they do. They're like, well, I like my ego stroked, and men worship themselves, and also the demons want their ego stroked. So it must be that it's about stroking the right ego, which is God's ego. No. Worship is about transformation. Worship is something we do that attunes us to God and makes us like Him. It is the motions that are in a way practice in order to become loving, in order to become pure. And it actually does something. It's not just motions, but it actually does something. God is ontologically present in the Eucharist, in the sacraments, in baptism. But it is something that only God knows how to heal us and bring us to Him. And if that's the purpose of worship, only He can reveal it to us. How can I, a sick person, be lecturing people on health? Like, I don't even understand. Like, my mind is in sickness. And so I also like to say, psychology guy, if you most people have probably heard of the love languages. The love languages are these ways that like different people, all 5 love languages, like physical touch, gifts, let's see, we get words of affirmation, was it quality time, gifts, words of affirmation, touch, and acts of service. Yes, 5, gold star for me. There are things that all of us benefit from, we all need, but like certain ones you need more than others, like for each person. So like my mom's love language is gifts. You can get her anything, and that's better than getting her nothing. Like get her a dumb gift, and she'll just be like, a gift. It's not about possessions, it's nothing. It's just somehow it's the vehicle, the relic, the icon, whatever. It's the form that love takes for the person. And there's a lot of nuance to it. I mean, it's like multiple love languages, whatever. Like my love language is not in them. It's being understood. If you express that you understand me, if you make fun of me in a way that you understand me, like I feel loved. I'm like, oh, they see me. And that can be anything. That can be a gift that shows you understand me. That can be words. But the 5 languages are still like a good concept, good starting place. They've helped a lot of marriages where people are like, oh, wait, just because I want that doesn't mean I can just presume that that's what my spouse wants, or that's what they should do for me. Also, people who have touch love language are not more sexual. They're often less sexual, because every couple needs to have sexuality. But when your touch is your love language, you're like, you want it to be an end in itself, not just always about sex. So like, there's a lot of nuances to learn from it. But I started to realize that God's worship is like a love language. Like it is partially a expression of love to Him and a response to His love. And so saying, God, I'm going to worship you how I want, is like saying, hey friend, I'm going to love you how I want to. Like I want to go to movies, so you need to go to movies with me. And they're like, I hate movies. It's like, it doesn't fly. It doesn't float. So anyways, I studied all of this and am thinking about it, praying about it, meditating over it. And within 3 months, I was like, I have to go to an Orthodox church. And so the church, the Antiochian church that I ended up going to, all my friends from Multnomah went there. It was 1 block, I kid you not, 1 block from the evangelical church that I went to. Pure Love of God asks, what's your love language, Thaddeus? I don't know if you heard. I just said it. I just was saying, my love language is being understood, which is not one of the classic 5. Anything that expresses like you understand me, anything that's like I buy gift, like if I buy a gift for a friend or give them a compliment, it's like something very specific to them and their personality. And so, yeah, if someone like gives me a gift and I can tell like, wow, you get me, this is like the perfect gift, like for me specifically, like a funny gift, whatever. Even if someone makes fun of me, if they make fun of me and it's the way they understand me, like I feel loved. If they're like, oh yeah, classic Thaddeus, always doing blah blah blah, and it's like, I do that. If you observe something about me even I don't know, that's a huge deal to me. Let's see. So eventually, I reading all this stuff, I was like, I got to go to the Orthodox Church. And the church I was going to was 1 block away from the Orthodox Church. Maybe like 2, but it was very close. It was shocking how close it was. Like they were far away from where I lived, and they were like right next to each other. And so I had to tell people at my church, I'm like, hey, I'm going to this Orthodox church right over here. And they're like, why? And I'm like, I don't want to go. I like this church that I'm in, and I don't like the Orthodox services. But I was so convicted by history that I just forced myself to start going. Yeah, and I think I'm gonna kind of end my story there, and I'll save the next section, like what exploring Orthodoxy was actually like for me, for the next stream a week from now. But yeah, that was how I started. Like this is from the discovery of Orthodoxy to how I finally got myself to go to the Orthodox Church. So. Let's see. Let's catch up on the chats here. Gabriel says, what do you think about Jungian psychology and esoteric Christianity like Rudolf Steiner? Jungian psychology, I have lots of thoughts. That might be a whole stream in itself one day. I might go re-skim. So Jung, oh man, where do I start? Well, first off, if you want to go deeper than what I'm talking about here, I went on Mr. Westford's channel. If you find Mr. Westford, he's a great Orthodox guy. I think he's Czar Westford or something like that, or Czar Martyr, something like that. But Mr. Westford on YouTube, I've done his stream 3 times. One time was about psychology, and we talked about Jung. So that'd be the first Thaddeus on Mr. Westford's stream. The second time we talked about AI, and the third time we talked about Candace Owens and Erica Kirk and TPUSA. And I don't usually talk politics. If you want to talk about that, don't ask me in the chat, please, because it's so controversial. I don't even want to deal with that. I'm not going to talk about it. If you want to learn my thoughts on that, though, go watch that. You'll get an earful, and a lot more has come out since then too. But maybe everybody here would agree with me, but I don't care. I just don't. I get so tired. I like talking about it a little bit, but I don't like I usually talk one-on-one with people, and if they want to hear about it, I just say, go watch that stream. And then if you watch that stream, then come to talk to me, and I'll talk to you about anything about it. But that stream is the perfect intro anyways. Sorry, that's not what you were asking about or what I'm talking about here. We're in tangent mode again, but there's a book. Jung had a lot of writings and a lot of books, but near the end of his life, it took a guy convinced him to write one of his last books, which is called On Man and His Symbols. And On Man and His Symbols is Jung and 4 of his students get together and write 5 chapters. He writes the first one, and it is supposed to be the layperson's summary of all his writings. I think Thomas Aquinas did this too with his compendium. So some writers do this, but yeah, Jung, and he didn't want to do it at first, but this one guy was like, look, you wrote all these books, but there's a lot of lay people that need your stuff, and so, which is debatable, but there's some value to it. But I read this book back in Bible college for one of my psych classes. I kind of skimmed it, and I don't think I ever finished it. I finished the first chapter. Jung's chapter is the best chapter in my opinion. If someone is curious about Jung, I would say the best thing you can do is find an ebook. They're easy to find online, and read just the first section by Jung, because it is a great introduction to his perspectives, and you'll learn a lot. I think if you're Orthodox, you'll recognize what you should throw out and not take to the bank. Jung is such a mixed bag. He's in occult stuff, but his understanding of symbolism is very Orthodox and spot on. He says a lot of stuff that Jonathan Pajot would say. And yeah, it's a really mixed bag. When he talks about dreams, for example, dream symbolism is real, and Orthodoxy generally encourages us to ignore our dreams, which is what I encourage everyone to do. Sometimes if you have a dream that won't go away and it's really bothering you and you keep having it, I will talk to my clients sometimes about dreams. I will pray. I'll be like, Lord, help me. But the scientific understanding of dreams, which I think is totally fair, and it vindicates what the fathers say about them, is that dreams are you processing stuff. Like stuff you feel, stuff you desire, stuff you're afraid of, all psychological, subconscious, and conscious stuff. Dreams are you like doing extra processing. You haven't finished processing it, so it's like your pressure release valve, your overflow is to be dreaming about it and your brain's like trying to finish processing it. Ignore it. If your brain wants to process it, you don't have any control. Like you can pray the prayer, Lord, help me have a dreamless night. Like it's a good prayer. Elder Thaddeus talks about that too. But if you keep having the dream, it might be something that you're processing. It also might be from demons, but a lot of times what the demons are tricking you with is something that you also, like the demons prey upon your trauma. The demons prey upon your desires. I had 2 dreams in my life that I figured out what they meant, and it was tremendously helpful to me. But again, my default position is always just ignore them if you can. Maybe sometime I'll talk about one of those dreams, the spiral staircase dream. I'm tempted to talk about it right now. I might look at the chat. I'll save it for another time. If you remember, Gabriel or anyone watching, ask me another stream when I have more time to talk about the spiral staircase dream, because I want to get through these questions before we hit the hour mark here. So I got about 20 more minutes. Never mind. I'm going to tell it. I'm going to talk about the dream, and then I should have time. Because I want to give an example. Like I want to balance like stay away from dreams, ignore them, but sometimes this is the thing you got to do. And when you hear it, it'll make sense. It'll be like, okay, I can see why Thaddeus thinks there's a place for dream interpretation. And Jung helped me with this. I don't. And let me be clear. Let me finish my thoughts on Jung before I get into the dream. Jung's big problem, the big dangerous thing, and this is exactly what the fathers warn about with dreams, is he treats your dream like a guide, like it's an authority, like it's a teacher. That's bad. That's very bad. You don't like your dreams are like caused by things. Like you can have a carton of ice cream and you puts you in a really bad mood, and then you go to sleep and you have nightmares. Like some people eat a carton of ice cream and then have nightmares. It's like, that doesn't mean anything. That's not a guide. Like that's the consequence of something. Like if you've been looking at too much naughty stuff on the internet, like you might have dreams about it. That's not a guide. That's an effect. Not supposed to be a cause. It's an effect. And so Jung even had like this entity that he would see in his dreams, and he was in occult stuff, and he would let the entity guide him, and he painted him one time. He's really creepy. He looks like it's an angel, and it looks demonic. It's like a beard. It's literally like a devil plus angel wings. And so he had a name and everything. So like, but it doesn't mean like the thing about demonic stuff is that the demons always prey upon truth. And it doesn't mean we should go read demonic stuff and try and pick out the truth of it. However, I always like to point out that if you read the Fathers and you read the book of Enoch, which is something that we generally treat as true, even though it's not scripture, Enoch himself is a saint. He's actually in... Get out of my way, me! He's in this icon, the Holy Forefathers, which I was really surprised. I had no idea until I saw that icon that he's a saint. You could take Enoch as your patron saint. But his book isn't scripture, or the first part of it that's attributed to him. But in that book, and this is generally considered true in Orthodoxy, the demons revealed technologies to Cain, specifically Cain, because he was the first one who liked it. Adam and Eve fell, but they were sad about it and they repented, and they're saints. They're also in the icon. Cain is not. Cain did not repent. He liked his evil. And the fathers say that's something, like we trace back to like Adam and Eve, all sin and this umbrella of evil. It's like that's the umbrella of repentance. There's a sub-umbrella that starts with Cain that is evil. That is like people who didn't repent, who sinned and didn't have repentance. And so, like I said, I might not even get to the dream here. The demons, one of the things that they taught Cain, well, one, they taught them cities. And I hate to break it to you guys, I'm so ashamed. I live in a city. Yeah, I live in a demonically revealed technology. I'm participating in it. Like, also, the demons revealed to him metallurgy so that he could make swords and kill people. The demons definitely have nefarious reasons for revealing this stuff, but guess what? I kiss metal. I kiss religious metal shaped like a cross every Sunday. Like, you can't, we just can't, it's not as easy as demons revealed it, we can have nothing to do with it. Demons revealed it, we should have a lot of caution and really have discernment and not make decisions on our own. Like, there's a lot of caveats, but it's just not that simple. So the idea that we can't learn anything from Jung is not the case. Now, should every person go read Jung? No, go read this. Go read the Saints. Like, you'll get so much better value. But there are some people, some of us that are like researchers and evangelists, and there's going to be some people who God calls to read books like Jung, and like, hopefully, I mean, I'm doing it right now, so I hope I'm called by God. Lord have mercy. But like, that are be called by God and be like, hey, Jung talks about this one thing, and that's helpful to us, and so we'll quote him on it. I quote the Buddha sometimes. Like, I quote the Buddha when he says you won't be punished for your anger, but by your anger. That's some great wisdom. Like, the Buddha also says, when he's talking about like experiential stuff, which is key in Orthodoxy, he says, I can lead you to the boat that's at the river, but only you can get in the boat and cross it. It's kind of like saying, like, I can teach you all this theology and prayer and whatever, but you have to go pray. That's exactly what he's saying. So anyways, like, we can salvage this stuff. We can use it. We have to be very careful about it. There's a methodology, so don't go just read Jung. But there is value in Jung, and his understanding of symbolism, because that's the language of dreams, is very valuable. I've used it. I think I understood Pajot because I had studied Jung already. But I recently read the book, so I think I might actually do at least one stream on that chapter. Go reread it and then do a stream on it. So, anyways, I'm going to catch up on the chat, and maybe I'll talk about the dream, the spiral staircase dream, but I want to talk about it sometimes. It's very interesting. So, yeah, because I got about 14 minutes. I'll just talk forever. That's why I like being disciplined with myself and trying to go towards 9. And also, I want people to feel like if they stick around, like they know when it's going to end. But let's see. 9:23:23 says you nailed it on the head on that one. Making God happy is legit what I thought worship was. When I was discovering the true worship, I thought the problem was I'm making God happy wrong. Yes. Talked about my love language. 92323 says, I never even thought about self-transformation in the self, but I always was bothered by myself and not being changed or transformed by the faith. Yeah, same here. I know a lot of Protestants who are like my brother-in-law, he's an Assemblies of God pastor, and he's just like, there's not enough sanctification, which is the Protestant word for transformation. We kind of, salvation, sanctification, justification, glorification, they're all kind of one thing from different angles for us. Like, salvation is being transformed, but I get that's how they use the word. But he's like, yeah, it just feels like we're not growing. I have a friend who's a catechumen now at my parish, and he was like, do you know why I finally started going to church? I've known you for like 4 or 5 years. And I was like, why? And he said, because you kept changing. And that's not my credit. That's orthodoxy. Like, if I'm not changing, I'm saying, like, yeah, that's like, there was, as C.S. Lewis put it, there was further up and further in. He says this in The Last Battle. Like, there's something deeper to go into. And my friend was just like, he's been Protestant for years, and he's like, you're just kind of like, boop, and then you're stuck. Like, the glass ceiling of sanctification. Boom, that's what I'm calling it now. Ridiculous. But that's what he kind of hit. And so when he saw that, it was like, you keep growing in your walk with Christ as a Christian, as a person. He was like, I want that. I want to, like, break the glass ceiling. This is very funny to me. But yeah, transformation, and the fact that Orthodoxy has it and it's visible and it's real is incredible. Pure Love of God says, bro, I don't think I could ever understand you, but bro, trust that I love you. Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm so alone. Very funny joke, bro. Depressing, nihilistic loneliness. Super hilarious, Thaddeus. Weston says, why am I excited for these streams every week? Probably demons. Okay. It's because I have no life and I'm a nerd like you, so you speak to my heart. Well, that's better than demons. Still sad, but no, bro. Like, I'm thankful you're here. Thank you for joining. I'm to hear that you're excited makes me excited. So, Pure Love of God posted the Mr. Westford channel. Heck yeah. Yeah, if any of those 3 things I mentioned interest you, I go a lot. I had just finished reading that chapter of Jung from On Man and His Symbols that he wrote. And so when I got on Mr. Westford's stream, the first one with him of the 3 that I'm on his channel, I had just read it, so it was like fresh. I go way deeper than what I said here. I can't remember. It's nighttime. I'm in my little bit of groggy state. I'm trying to drink my coffee. It's not enough. But yeah, that AI, we went really deep into AI too, and like Orthodox implications. People be like, it's demons. We talk about that, but I think we went way deeper. I was really happy. He's my favorite channel to be on. Like if you go on this channel, there's a playlist that's like Thaddeus Talks on other channels. There's like 20, 30, I don't know how many videos in there. But it's like I've compiled almost all my talks on other channels. There's a couple that are missing because people took the channels down. But Mr. Westford's, I think all 3 of them are on there. And those are some of my favorites, because we do a lot deeper dives. It's more like this channel where I'm going all over the place, and I think that's my better stuff personally. A lot of the channels I do, it's like, I am an Orthodox coach. Your thoughts determine your life, and give me money. That's it. That's all I have to say. it's always like a 101 intro, and it's stuff we talk about here, but I dive deeper here. But Mr. Westford, we go deep dive. Like his streams that I've been on are like the kind of things I want to do on here. They're real deep dive. Like I want to have fun. Like I want to go deep with people. I want to have the Snow Quilter. Good to see you. Yes, you are late. We're gonna be done here in like 9 minutes. But no worries. You can always go back and watch it. If it was me, I would never go back and watch it. That would be insane unless it was on 2 times speed, or some people are like times 1.5. I even talk a little slow sometimes so that I get the less ums and uhs. So you can have your cake and eat it too. Less ums and uhs, and get it speedy still. So I watch almost everything on 2 times speed, except Mr. Sujano, the guy who does retro gaming news. I do him 1.25 times speed. That's a real honor. That's a real compliment to that man. Anyways, that's not really on brand for my channel, but I do like my retro games. Maybe one of these days we'll do a stream about gaming and why it's for sad, lonely men. I always say gaming is for the weak, but I'm weak, so I play video games. It's good to have that balance where you can admit something's out of your weakness, but not be like too hard on yourself about it. People want to do too hard one way or the other. I don't even know what to think about politics anymore. Everything's been going everywhere. Dang, dude, yeah, that's so real. Everything's been going everywhere. Are people super geniuses? Are they gooberamas? Like, what is going on? How do I classify them? Epstein files. They seem like they're a psyop. They seem like they're revealing psyops on a level that's never been revealed ever in history. But they also seems like revealing them as a psyop. But is it good guys psyoping us? Like trying to fight evil by doing psyops? I don't know. That could be a whole stream. I could definitely do a stream on politics. I don't want to. I hate politics, even though I've been keeping up with a lot of stuff recently, watching a lot of videos on the Epstein files. But the one thing I will say, this is very important, the most important conclusion anytime Orthodox are talking about politics, thank God I'm Orthodox, especially because I don't have to worry about politics. If your faith doesn't work, you're always substituting it with some other stuff, supplementing it with politics and social justice and whatever, marriage. Try and make yourself happy with marriage because Christ doesn't fully satisfy you in Protestantism. He's there. I think he's there. Saint Theophan the Recluse says he's there. But it's not anything. I sometimes say that Protestants can be friends of Christ, but only Orthodox are the bride of Christ. It's one of my favorite ways to sum up the dynamic and be a little charitable too. But yeah, I don't need politics to save me or be my focus anymore, thank God. Hello from Father Ron. Father Ron, thank you for watching. I'm getting close to wrapping up here, kind of answering the last few questions, finishing the chat. But thank you so much for coming. if you are curious about the stream, you can always go back and watch it at, like I was saying, 2 times speed. But yeah, maybe a lot of people are just showing up. I know, like, even Pure Love for God showed up later. Maybe I'll shift the times. Maybe I'll start an hour later, and then go 3 hours, but and go till 10 o'clock my time, like 7 to 10 Mountain Time. But yeah, people can let me know in the chat what they think about that. Man without a name, glad to be here. Yeah, glad to have you. You said interesting subject. Never heard about this. Has it been discussed before? I'm sorry. Can you post again what you're specifically referring to? I've been talking while the chat's going about like 10 different things, even just in the last like 10 minutes. And then I will respond. 2 times speed is blessed by God, not demonic. I don't know about that. I think 2 times speed is feeding the same part of me that doom scrolls, doesn't want to do my prayer rule, wants to play video games all the time. I think 2 times speed feeds that. I think God's merciful on me, but I think it would actually be healthier to and I like watch videos or I play video games while I watch videos on 2 times speed. I think it would be a lot more blessed to be like, is this video worth my time? And I'm going to sit down and give it my full attention and practice keeping my noose focused and not have like the ADHD attention museum going on. But I mean, that's how I do it. But I think it's like, it's kind of like fast forwarding the liturgy. It's obviously not the same as that, but it's a little bit like that. I don't know. Anyways, that's what I'm going to do. And I always tell people, like, you shouldn't watch my streams on 1 time speed, watch them 2 times speed. So, Weston's gaming, nice. Yeah, people people gaming while they watch this. That's great. Does my heart good. Let's be weak together. What are you playing, Weston? Let's see. Snow Coulter says, welcome to Orthodoxy. Too conservative for conservatives, too liberal for liberals. Amen to that. Demons Revealing Technology. A Man Without a Name says. Yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah, it's... Like I said, it's in Enoch, and the fathers read Enoch and quoted Enoch all the time, so, like, indirectly, that's where I would point to. I'm sure they talk about it other places because they're talking about Enoch. You might have to, like, maybe search... You could ask... I know this is forbidden and faking gay and cringe. You could ask like an AI. So I go hard on AI like all the time. AI is really a dangerous thing. I would rather it be nuked. However, it's one of those technologies. We're getting kind of meta here, asking AI about evil technologies. But I don't have a problem using it as a search engine. Just make sure you go verify independently, because it generates fake church father quotes sometimes. Don't ask AI about spirituality. Don't ask AI if your boyfriend or girlfriend is a narcissist. These are not questions for AI. Asking it like, which church fathers talk about technology? I think that's a great use of AI. But go check. Don't just ask it for quotes. You can ask it for quotes, but if you read one of them and go, oh, that's interesting, I learned from it, I'm going to quote it, I'm going to teach someone else, whatever, you need to go verify that it's real. Go look it up. Make sure that it's correct. But yeah, the same applies to AI. We can't be like legalistic and militant about it, but we can be very cautious and very wise. No AI generated icons, please. If you make a meme and in the background it generates an icon, it's not that big a deal. Do not generate full icons, and especially do not venerate AI generated icons. They are soulless. Part of the soul and prayer of the iconographer goes into the icon. So yeah, but that's where I would look. So NBA 2K26, nice. Yeah, I'm not a big sports guy, not a big sports video game guy, but I could 100% get how that's like a perfect like listening game. That reminds me of my listening games. When I'm watching stuff, I for a while I was like, I want to stop playing mindless games, and if I play games, I want to play like meaningful games that like afterwards I'm like, that wasn't just numbing for a little bit, that was joyful. So I was trying to play like story-driven games and games that actually challenge me, that are not me just like RuneScape, Click Rock. I always make fun of RuneScape, Click Rock. Oh, I click rock enough times, I click new rock. Whoa! Like, just like that. RuneScape's like a real waste of my life game, and I like RuneScape, so it's a problem. Like, I really like to be RuneScape is like scraping the bottom of the barrel. Like, you should be really embarrassed if you play RuneScape, and I play RuneScape. However, I did do a 180 because I realized that those same games I was insulting, if I want to watch YouTube videos, they're the best games. And I would get more benefit from playing the mindless games while listening to edifying YouTube videos than I would from playing like story games and challenging games. I will say I think I get some downsides because I'm doing the dopamine feed thing and feeding the like I got a snack while playing the video game, while listening to the YouTube video, while sitting in my comfy chair. Like I'm prone to that. I'm prone to some bad hedonism. But anyways, I play some Survivors games. So I used to play Vampire Survivors, but I kind of did everything and got burnt out on it. Deep Rock Galactic is one of my absolute favorite games, and Deep Rock Galactic Survivors, totally different game, just themed in the same universe. Also one of the best Survivors games. I've also been playing Megabonk. That's a really, really great one. I was playing one not as popular called Entropy Survivors. It's all right. Like it's one of the better ones. If you want recommendations on the Survivors games, you could always message me. I'll give you some. But they're just usually they're top-down games where you don't even aim. You just move the character around while they auto-attack. You pick up experience, you pick up items, you level up, you get a little roguelike selection of possible upgrades and you pick one. You sometimes get weapons, sometimes they merge together like in Vampire Survivors. And sometimes they get little upgrades, whatever. So it's fun, and you just kind of progress through, get permanent upgrades, temporary upgrades for the run. But they're really great, especially when you're not aiming or anything, you're just running around. They're really great for watching videos. So let's see. Before we wrap up, I've never asked about AI, about spirituality. Totally never done that. Wah wah. I'm telling your priest, 9/23/23. I don't know who your priest is, but yeah. I mean, AI is probably like dreams. Like, it doesn't hurt if you stay away from it. But sometimes it's useful. Today I asked it something. I actually trying to remind myself to ask the right kinds of questions. Today I asked it this: what's the history of the relationship between the dollar and the yen? I was watching an anime recently, and they were talking about this much yen, and I was like, oh, I wonder how much money that is. And I looked it up, and I had a little shorthand for how much yen is to a dollar, so I could translate it in my mind. And I was like, $1 is 100 cents, it's like a penny to a yen. That used to work a while back, just as a shorthand. It was a little off, but it was close enough. If someone said 100,000 yen, I'm like, okay, that's $1,000. It was good enough for watching an anime. I could just grasp the money amount. But then recently I was looking, and it's 150 yen to a dollar, something like that. And so I asked AI the history, and it was the yen started here in its trade with the dollar, and then did this, and then Nixon did this, and that forced this to happen, and the world wars and whatever. And then in this year, and then recently it's done this. And I was like, that was great. That's what I would use AI. That's a good I think that's a productive use of artificial intelligence. It can just generate a Wikipedia article. So something I learned on Wikipedia, I could learn. And AI, we know, gets a lot of its answers from Wikipedia, which means I controls the Wikipedia, I controls the AI universe. Dune reference. Dune, for anyone who hasn't seen that. I control the spice. I control the universe. Let's see here. Yeah, but spirituality, it doesn't know what it's talking about. And if it even gets something slightly wrong, and we need, these books are filled with grace. There's some grace in them, just like the icon. They're filled with grace. So we don't want to, learn. I myself, being someone who has a blessing from my priest to be a very junior level discussion of spirituality, by God's mercy. I'm retarded, and you could be like, oh, Thaddeus is so oh, he thinks he's retarded. Yeah, it's no, for real. My priest knows. Father Paul Trubenbach knows I'm retarded. It's horrible. Anyways, he's very helpful, thank God. But I've read some AI summaries of Orthodox spirituality, and what scared me the most was that it was not that bad. but it's still like, yeah, it's sacred. It shouldn't be generating icons even if it doesn't write, and it shouldn't be talking about spirituality. That's not its business. I hate it when it tries to be like a personal, where it's like, that's a really great thought. I'm like, you don't know what a great thought is. Shut up. Like don't say that anymore. No more talk like, I tell my AI, this is something I talk about in the stream with Mr. Westford, talk like you're a computer. Don't talk to me like you're a person. Stop simulating that you're a person. That's not appropriate. Like I've said that, and the AI is like, okay, I understand, and I'm like, good. If I'm using it, I need you to convey to me you are a robot, because you are a robot. Like, I need to make sure that truth is being conveyed. You are not a person. You are a generated text on a screen, and I need to have that conveyed. So, anyways, we're almost about wrapped up here. But Weston says PC or PS5. What's a PS5? People play consoles? Those are still things? Like, no, PC Master Race. PC Master Race for a long time, but especially now. Like, wasting money on a console. That $500-$600. How much do PS5s cost? I don't even know, but Thaddeus lied. He knows what a PS5 is. Drop that $500 on a desktop. You can get a good desktop for $500. Drop $800. Oh my gosh, you're gaming. You're gaming away. Like, you're gaming. You can do video production. You can do all your stuff. I got triple monitors here. Like, you got a graphics card that can support 3 monitors. Go get 3 monitors at Goodwill. Like, you have a killer gaming setup. Build your PC yourself. I'll help you. Contact me. Like, no, if you're playing PS5, you're not too broke to play PC. No, not at all. How much are your games? You're paying like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, $80 for games. I don't know what the prices are, but they're outrageous. You can buy games on PC for $5. You can buy games on PC that cost $40 on your console for $5 on PC. No, I guarantee you'll get better gaming value and save money. But I'm glad you're taking this all in good spirit. I'm like going hard on you sarcastically, but also, I mean it. Like, don't buy a console again. Spend that money on PC. You'll be so much happier. Yeah, like $60 to $80. Do you know how many games that will buy you on a PC? Yeah, like if you sell your PC and sell your I'm just saying, if you sell your PS5 and sell your games, like used secondhand, you can buy a gaming PC that does everything your PS5 does and more. And you can buy like, you'll have some money left over for games. Like, it's totally worth it. Your setup will be better. You can run an HDMI cable to your TV and play on your TV like a gaming console. Steam has big picture mode. Yeah, everything should be PC now. You can buy a Steam Deck. No, wait. You can't buy a Steam Deck. They're sold out right now. It's actually big news. I can't believe I forgot that. But when they come back, or a ROG Ally X, or one of these other handhelds, like these awesome little things, man, we're over time. I don't care. You could buy these little gaming PCs that are a console. You can hold them gaming style. You can hook them up to a dock at your TV, and now they're a game console. And they have decent graphics. Like, they might not be PS5 level, but they're adequate. You can plug them in at a desktop and have your keyboard and mouse, and this is your computer. Like, I bought mine a portable. I have a Steam Deck, portables with the older one, not the LCD. But I've got a portable screen and a keyboard and mouse that are wireless, and I go to a coffee shop, use it as my work laptop. Like, I just hook up the bigger screen to it and a keyboard and mouse and plug in power, and there's like a little dock you plug in. It's just like a dongle, and then everything plugs into that. The wireless receiver for the keyboard and mouse is already plugged in. So I basically plug that in, plug in power, plug in the monitor, and it's a like work laptop. And I can do video editing on it. It's good enough for video editing. That's like the real challenge. The tier above gaming is, can you do video editing? So, I always tell people, like, buy a Steam Deck, and if you want fancier than that, like, just buy a desktop. Build it. Don't buy like Alienware. People buy Alienware. Alienware is an overpriced Dell, and Dells are not very good. So, build it yourself. It is not hard to build your own computer in this day and age. Last thing before I get going, and I'll respond. I realize I missed some chats. So I will check those before I take off. But there's a website called PC Part Picker. PC Part Picker searches all of the major websites for all these different parts and prices and sales and reviews and everything. You can view people's builds, but you can set your own build. And you can even pick multiple parts. So what you do is you go through each part. It tells you all the parts you need for a PC. And you can go research it a little if you want to. Case. And then you can research cases. How much do you want to spend? Just $30? Get a $30 case. Go on eBay. Buy a used case. They're dirt cheap when you buy them used. Want a cool looking case? Spend $50. Spend $100. But you add it to there. Maybe there's a multiple. And then when one goes on sale, you get that one. You can add multiple if you don't know which one you want. Hard drives. Add a hard drive. Add multiple hard drives. Add your RAM. RAM's expensive right now. But buy some used on eBay. 16 gigs. Go through, set all the parts. And like I said, go to Goodwill, buy some monitors there. You'll save a ton of money. But you can do all this. Amazon has like nice wireless keyboard and mouse or wired for $30, less than that. Like you can get a desktop that is a good gaming desktop for $500, and it'll do what your PS5 does. And that's how much a PS5 does. What a PS5 does, and it costs it does more for the same price. And once you're saving money on games, once all that money is spent on like 5 PS5 games, gets you like 100 Steam games, dude, it's worth it. So, but PC Part Picker, what I did when I first built my PC right after Bible college, now we're back to part of my story here. I made a PC Part Picker list. I put multiple parts under each category, and when one went on sale, I bought it. And then I just set it in the stack. And then and this took me like 4 months, maybe 6 months. But it was like after 6 months, I had a fantastic basic gaming PC. It did everything I wanted, had great graphics, all this stuff. Cost me at the time probably $600, $700. You can get a nice gaming PC. There's no reason people shouldn't buy a gaming PC, except if they're looking at they're going to like Best Buy and looking at the pre-built ones, which they shouldn't be. But you build a gaming PC, oh my gosh, dude, they're so much better than a console, and they don't cost much more. And you get so much more out of it. And then once, long run, buying games, you save so much money. PC Part Picker. If you're interested in building a PC, PC Part Picker. If you need help, you can DM me. I like helping with this stuff. I like tinkering. So, anyways, Snow Quilter says AI has its place. Great for programmers. It is, especially taking their jobs. Design homeschool lessons. Oh, that's interesting. I like that idea. It isn't bad at summarizing text. That's true. But I'm better at it, so I never have it summarize my text. It can tell funny jokes. Yeah, but it steals them. It doesn't have a real sense of humor. It steals jokes. It does craft some itself. It does mix concepts because it recognizes that what we think is funny. I'm too broke to play PC. I already apologetically refuted that. You are not too broke to play PC. Dude, $60 to $80 a game. I can't remember the last time I spent more than like $20 on a game. Last year I did pay $25 for the Factorio Space Age expansion the day it came out, because Factorio is like one of my 5 favorite games. And I cleared my coaching schedule that day, and I played Space Age all day. I love that game, but that was like very special to spend $25 on a game. So if I spend $10 on a game, that's a big deal. I have a massive Steam wish list, and I just buy games I want when they go on sale for like a few bucks. So, $100 on Steam, $60 to $80 on Steam is like a small treasure trove of games. So, dude, 92323 built his PC before the RAM prices spiked. Good work. Somebody's got to cash in on this. There's got to be some new. It's really hard to make the chips that are in RAM, but like there's got to be some company that's like, yeah, let's start making these. It's a lucrative business. If it was lucrative then, it's more lucrative than it's ever been. Gabriel says, don't forget monthly online subscriptions. Yeah, I mean, you can have those on PC, but you also don't have to have them. You can also do retro emulation, which I get people don't want to pirate stuff, but retro emulation, like, you can't even get the stuff anymore. You could, like, all the Super Nintendo games, you can upgrade them. You can play PSP games upscaled on your computer, 6 times resolution, put a HD texture pack, and the thing looks like a PS3 game. Like, you can make your PSP games look like PS3 games, at least PS2, but a lot of times PS3, on your PC. And, like, it's incredible. Spend $0, just like, I mean, I'm going to call it pirating, but I don't think it's, like, the same thing. I mean, I pirate stuff once in a while. I don't think it's good. I'm weak. I play video games. But I have no problems with pirating old retro games. Like, some of them get re-released on Steam, but, like, go PSP, go download all your favorite PSP games. I'll give you my library. I went through every PSP game, literally. This was something I did back when I was a stoner many years ago. Because I was just doing dumb stoner stuff. I went through every PSP game, read reviews, and created a master list of all the best PSP games. I kid you not. And you can just have that collection that I made of ROMs. I'll put it in a file, I'll send it to you on Google Drive or something. And then you run it through PPSSPP, the free PSP emulator, PSP, PPSS, PPS, all these P's and S's and P's, you're going to get it right eventually. PPSSPP, the PSP emulator. Yeah, and that'll run on a potato. Like, you can run that on old phones. You drop $50, get here's what you can do. I'll sell you a little more. You get your gaming PC, then you get your phone, you put PPSSPP on there with the same texture packs, you set up SyncThing to synchronize your save, now you have cloud-saved PSP games. When you play them on your PC, they're hyper-upscaled graphics, you can run them on an old potato phone and have the same save, and now they're just downscaled graphics, same save file though, and then you can take it anywhere. You can get one of those controllers that attaches to your phone, those things are amazing. You can, this I waited years to save up for, Retroid Pocket 5, man I gotta do a stream on retro games. Retroid Pocket 5, let's see if the battery's charged. The battery's charged, hooray, glorious day. The top screen isn't, it's still connecting, oh there it goes. I stream Steam games running full quality on my computer onto this screen, and then I run YouTube on this screen. It's the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me since sliced bread and orthodoxy. So, yeah, this thing, there's a newer version, the 6. I would recommend that one instead. This is the Retroid Pocket 5. It's like $230, and it runs Android. It runs anything. This runs freaking secret console games. That's the slang for Switch. But I would never do that because I'm not a bad person. Actually, I play Switch games on this that I bought on my Switch years ago. But that plays everything. It plays everything. It like, even they're getting it to play some PS3 games now. It's wild. You can buy this one, which plays Switch games, most of them, for like $180 on eBay right now. It's crazy what you can get. So anyways, I could go on forever. I need to... I just got a wild message. Anyways, sorry, I'm very distracted by a wild message. I'm a bit smitten. Let's see here. Sorry, everyone. I'm not in a place to explain my facial expressions. VC8503. Dude, we're stretching it out tonight. We're 17 minutes past. That's fine. I'm not bothered. This is fun. I don't know why I'm so insistent that I have to end at 9, but VC, let's see. We got 10 concurrent viewers right now. This is like a higher viewer count for tonight. It was a little slow for the first hour. I think officially, and again, anybody objects to this in the chat, I think officially I need to start an hour later. Like, I'm kind of tired right now. I kind of don't like streaming this late. But I'm thinking that more people seem like they're available and watching at this time. So, let's see. VC8503 says, install Linux for maximum blast processing. Yes. Put like Bazite. Bazite is the Steam-centric Linux system. I really like it. I've tried... In the last month, I tried a bunch because I was trying to get video software to work on Linux. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to go back to Windows on my video editing laptop because DaVinci Resolve won't work. I'm very bummed. That's all I use that laptop for. It's an old junky laptop, but it's good enough for video editing. And I was like, put Bazite on there. I was so happy. And then my video editing software wouldn't work, and that's what I use it for. And so I tried Mint. I tried CachyOS. I tried... like a bunch of others, and they all gave me problems. And so, but yeah, I have a I have a second gaming PC because it's my old one, and I found it in a closet, and I was like, if I put two parts in this, it works again. So dropped like $60 and put two parts in it, and it works again. And so it's in my back room here. I have an old junky 3D printer that I never use because I've tried for 6 years to get it to work. That's a story for another time. But I use it as my 3D printer computer. That has Bazite on it, and I love it. This has Windows just because I have so much software that only works on Windows. But I have Bazite on that, and I sometimes get on there just to use Bazite, even though it's like I could do everything that on my Windows computer. But I wish I could have Bazite on my laptop again. Oh, dude, a PS5 and Xbox? I'm judging you. Weston has a PS5 and two PS5 and an Xbox. You can afford PC gaming. You can afford PC gaming. Snow Quilter loves the sarcasm. Snow Quilter, do you know your Myers-Briggs? Do you know your Myers-Briggs personality type? Are you like an INFJ or an ISFJ? Because they always get along with me. They always like me. They always like the sarcasm. I always get along with those types. Might be something different, but it's because they're a golden pair. I'm an ENTP, and they're like the golden pair, so they have all the same attributes, but they're flipped. So we like the same stuff. Well, the ISFJ especially, we like the same stuff, but then we have different priorities. So the ISFJ is like has this secret bantery person that they like hide deep down, and then when the ENTP brings it out, they're like, I can be this person. And then the ENTP is like I'm an ENTP that's like, I want things to be clean, but I'm too lazy. And the ISFJ is like, I'm all about having things clean and organized. I'm called the librarian. And so I'm like, yay, someone who will clean things for me. And I'm not going to mess it up. Like, I'm going to be like, oh, it's so sacred that they cleaned for me. Not all ENTPs are like this, but it varies. I keep my apartment, like, tidy, but not necessarily, like, germophobic clean. Anyways, I got chat to INFP or ENTJ. Okay, nice. Yeah, I always get along with INFPs. INFPs are, I mean, those types are different. If you look up INFP versus ENTJ, you'll probably figure it out. I live in a sarcastic family. Me too. Funny enough, like, ENTPs are the banter people, and my INTJ sister is like, she loves mean humor, and everyone likes her for it because it's like it's don't tell her I said this, but she's not actually mean. Gosh, she would punch me. Especially that one time I asked her to punch me, which was really stupid. Yeah, INFPs are the squish. Like, they're the soft little squish, very sensitive. ENTJ is like hard-nosed and leader. But again, it could be the sarcastic family. Let's see. As soon as I'm caught up, I'm ending the stream. But if people keep asking me stuff, we're going to keep going here. Let's see. BC8503. Some of y'all need to get real names. Some of y'all. 92323. Broseph Stalin. You need a real name. Maybe there's a nickname I can call you guys. I just won't remember them. I might remember them. Maybe give me a nickname to say. BC8503GN0. I never really had a PC that could run current games at 60 FPS without turning all the graphics down. I'm seeing people complain that they're getting 6 FPS instead of 144. Yeah, 60 is enough for me. I did do a comparison of 30 versus 60. I was like, okay, I can see the difference. 60 is enough. 60 is enough, yeah. No, and you can get, what do I have? I have a NVIDIA RTX, I think it's a 3060 Ti. Like, those aren't expensive, and like I can run everything in like high graphics, maybe not ultra or whatever. Like, it gets a little toasty, but yeah, like that's not a problem. Like, you can buy an older graphics card and have a like kick butt PC. And if you have two PS5s and an Xbox, I don't know anybody like that, but you could buy like the new graphics cards. Like, you could have literally like the most kick butt PC and still have leftover money. Like, you could have an unreasonably good PC that is way better than a PS5 or Xbox. That's for sure. And yeah, have mucho money to spare. Like, you get one of those widescreen monitors that's like 2 or 3 monitors in one, have some widescreen gaming. Holy smoke delis. Yeah, 923, like 6 FPS. I'd complain if I had that. Yeah, I did infer 60. I'm gonna start wearing RAM on a chain now. Nice, Gabriel. I'm into it. I'm gonna use like old computer RAM that has no value, but I'm gonna be like, dude, RAM, it's bling. Weston's like, let's keep going all night. I love this talk. Me too, but like, if you can't tell, my eyes are like poofy. Like I get this like poofy eye stuff when my health stuff kicks in. Like I look like medically induced Asian, I guess. Don't. Thaddeus out of context. Medically induced Asian. Remember paying 75 to 80 for, what was it, Yoshi's Island or Earthbound or something? The last years of Super Nintendo was wild. Dude, Yoshi's Island is the flippin' best. I love Yoshi's Island. Love the soundtrack. Oh my gosh, what a gem. Love Yoshi's Island. Earthbound is great too. I haven't played all the way. I haven't played a lot of it. Like I've played a couple hours of it. And I know it's a gem, but Yoshi's Island is near and dear to me. Like that's got to be one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. Super Nintendo to me is the best. Like it's never been better before or after Super Nintendo. Close is Game Boy Advance, because these are the games where you still have to be, since you're dealing with pixels, you still have to be really creative, but they're the best pixels. Like it's pixels at the top of their game. And so once you get 3D, I mean, like Nintendo 64 has all these like run around and jump, like platformers, Donkey Kong 64, Banjo-Kazooie, like they're good games, but like a lot of people did that. And now you have where it's like Borderlands, Borderlands doesn't count, but you have a lot of like games that are great games, but there's so many that are close to each other, whether it's like Batman Arkham games, which are fantastic, Watch Dogs. I'm just thinking you have a 3D character, third person, you run around, you collect abilities, you press X to activate things. Like they are somewhat similar to each other, and when you play a lot of them, they get kind of similar. So I just felt like there was a lot of innovation. It's also why I like Steam games, like the PC gaming world, because you have so much variety. Anyone who's played Ball X Pit, that's one of the new ones that I've really been into. Great indie game where it's like, you know, Breakout, where you have the bar at the bottom and the ball bounces around and breaks the blocks. It's like inspired by that, but it's fantasy, and the blocks are monsters that are moving down, and your character has like special kinds of orbs and attacks and stuff. It's super creative. You have a town where you build buildings in between the levels and upgrade stuff that increases your abilities in the game. It's wild. If you want a great gem, Ball X Pit, and it's like $10 on Steam, maybe 15. Like it's crazy. Such a good, creative, original, like Super Nintendo-esque game. $15 on Steam. It's got such replay value. There's a lot to do in it. I used to have ROMs, but I never played them and lost them. Now it's been a decade since I torrented anything, and I'm scared. Don't torrent anything. I'll tell you that. I don't know if you know that. Do not torrent things. You can get VPNs, and then you can torrent. There's no reason to torrent things. Search Google for Reddit ROM megathread. And the ROMs are stored on like Internet Archive and stuff. Like you don't have to torrent anything. Don't torrent. You could torrent some Switch games, I guess, but yeah, like just go in there. And like I said, I'll send you some of my like sets if you want like a game set, especially the small ones. If you want just like, I have collections. I curated, like I said, I curated these many years ago. The best Super Nintendo games. It's like all of them. It includes translations. It includes remasters. Like people fixed bugs in Super Metroid, Legend of Zelda, etc., and made the games better. Not like a new game, just fix the games, improve them. It's like Redux. It's the Redux version. I have those in my collection, so if you get the collection, you get these upgraded versions. If it's bigger stuff, like, I mean, my GameCube collection's pretty sweet, but that's a little bigger. But if it's Super Nintendo, I can zip that in a zip file, email it to you, whatever. If you want stuff PSP, PS1, PS2, definitely go to the ROM Mega Thread. If you just want a handful of ROMs, ROM Mega Thread. Anyways, yeah, but don't torrent. Metal Gear Solid Acid, yeah, easy, like 2 minutes, you got it in the ROM Mega Thread. So, let's see here. The faces are amazing. My faces, I forget that I do face stuff. It's like something when you do it, you're not aware of it. And then other people are like, you're a very expressive person. And I'm like, Oh, really? Like, I have this, like, some people have face blindness, if you've ever heard about that. My dad has it. My friend Luke has it. Like, they have a really hard time recognizing faces and seeing the distinctions. I have it with myself, where it's like 4 years later, I see this photo of myself I've seen a ton of times, and I'm like, oh, I look terrible in that. Oh, I look like a goober. Like, I can't tell at the time. Like, I look in a mirror, and people are like, do you like how it looks? And I'm like I go to the barber. I don't like going to the barber, because the barber keeps asking me if I like how I look, and I'm like, hmm? And then my mom's like, that's a horrible haircut. And she's right. And like 4 years later, I can tell it's a picture of it. It's a horrible haircut. But it's like, I just can't. It's a weird thing I have. Yeah. 8503 says, I'm running Pop! OS right now, and it's pretty cool. Had CachyOS before that. It was great also. Yeah, the Linux just rocks. Like, all of the main distros are great. Yeah, 3D printer has been horrifying. What went wrong with it is I tried to upgrade parts on it. It was having some problems, but it mostly worked. Like, you have little, like, print things to tweak how it looks, threading, whatever. But I upgraded parts on it to make it better, and every little part I upgraded had some kind of problems. And I kept trying to fix them, and I'd fix one, and another would rise up, and whatever. I would leave it aside. I'd flash new firmware, all this stuff. It's an Ender 3 Pro. Try and fix it again months later, get so stressed, leave it, gather dust, fix it again months later, a year later. Finally, it went in storage, and was been in storage since I came down to Salt Lake City for a few years. And then finally I brought it down with me. I restarted from scratch, figured there's got to be fixes now, whatever. I've got it almost working. I've got the BL Touch, the little thing that auto levels the bed. Like, I've got all this stuff almost working. The one thing is, it now, when it first starts the print, it does the starting line, and then it goes over to start to print, and it lifts up a little bit. Why? And I test everything. I'm like, is everything moving and shifting? Nothing moves. I'm so lost. I'm trying to Google it, whatever, but I'm just like, dude, once again, for like the 6th, 7th time, I've been trying to fix this dang thing. So, and the worst part, there's ones that cost as much as, I think I paid $200 something for this, and then I dropped like over $100 on parts on it. So it's like $300 sinkhole. And if it worked really great, it'd be worth like maybe $80. Maybe I could get someone to buy it for $100. But it doesn't even work. I can't figure out what's wrong with it. So it makes me really sad, because I could just drop $200 and get a printer that like kicks its butt. But I don't need one. I don't have extra money. Like this, my Retroid was something I saved up for years, waiting for the perfect retro handheld to come out, and this was it. And the little dual screen attachment, I wanted to do like DS games and stuff on it. I wanted to do YouTube, but anyways, yeah, so the printer is very sad to me, and I would just like it to work. I don't need a nice 3D printer. Like, if this one worked, I would just be happy. Anyways, let's see. Catching up here. We're still not caught up. We got people talking. I hate to say that I like it. Only child, yeah. True INFP with ENTJ public persona. I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Nick Flip got the koala Siggy going. $8503 had their real name but got embarrassed and had to hide. Yeah, you just need any sort of nickname, like a name though, so I don't have to say letters and numbers. Heck, you could turn your letters and numbers into a nickname. What do the letters and numbers mean? Dark Tide, anyone? The Warhammer game? I haven't played it yet. Nick Flip, I would like to. I think did it come in a Humble Bundle? Let me check. Dark Tide. Yep, I have Dark Tide, but I have not played it yet. Yeah, it looks fun. I've liked Warhammer games a lot, so. Why is cussing forbidden in Orthodoxy? Gabriel asks. Oh boy, here we go. Can of worms. Yeah, this is kind of my theory and my opinion on this. Like, I'd like to appeal to, like, being Orthodox. I kind of picked this up or whatever. I know St. John Chrysostom says not to swear. I remember seeing that somewhere. But, obviously some swearing is dirty words, but that does not explain all of it. That doesn't explain, like, bitch, like female dog. Why is that a swear? Like, well, it's an insult. It's like, okay, but what if I just call a female dog that? Like, everybody's gonna be really uncomfortable. Or I say something like, oh, that sucks, and it's like, that's really graphic and sexual. People don't realize that. We're just all used to saying that expression now. Like, that's not good. So yeah, it's really complicated. I think that the problem with swearing is that it is this is how I word it, a protest against reality. We attach things to words. Like, we attach things to icons. We already talked about this. We attach things to words. If you say someone's name, read How to Win Friends and Influence People. One of the things it talks about is the power of someone's name. Don't say someone's name with insults. Don't say negative stuff. They will hate you. Say person's name with positive stuff. They will like you more. You can do this in a bad way and manipulate, but you can do this in a way to love people and try and have good graces with them and affect them positively and encourage them. But I think there's words that we culturally choose, and then it just becomes real because we've associated it. Like, if I say certain swear words, like, a lot of people are going to feel uncomfortable. It doesn't matter if I'm not using them. If I say the N-word with the hard R, that's going to make people uncomfortable. I'm not insulting anyone. I just literally, the words came out of my mouth. But that's how our brains work. Our spiritual brains are associative machines. Words carry power because we've given them that power. So there are words we use to protest against reality and be really upset. And it's just like when I whine and complain and I'm like, oh, nothing good ever happens. It's like an insult to God. I'm like, God's reality isn't good enough for me. When I cuss and swear and get angry, like, they're all correlated with reality's wrong. Like, and it's a way to, like, almost attack reality and attack God's providence and say it's not good enough. So I think we start to associate a lot of different dark things with certain words, and that's why they're swear words. Like, when you actually cuss, I mean, it's one thing, like, if I needed to say one of the words, I would just say them, but I'm not going to hear. Like, it would trigger things in people's brains. But actually swearing, being like, oh, F that. Like, when you're doing that, you're exiting Orthodox peace. You're exiting, like, a healthy spiritual state. And so, yeah, that's why I would say, like, simply put, that swear words are bad. Weston has Asian eyes all the time. Dang, bro didn't do rental. He did full purchase. They're his forever. Dude, 8503 has the MSI Stealth laptop with RTX 2070. I have an MSI laptop with a 2060 also. And the fans are horrible. That's really funny, yeah. And that's what I do my video editing on, which isn't as bad video editing as gaming, surprisingly, but yeah. Earthbound and Chrono Trigger. Oh yeah, Chrono Trigger is absolutely incredible. Illusion of Gaia, I've always wanted to play and haven't played it. I need to. That's what I got these little retro handhelds for, but I've got, of course, like, an infinite backlog. It is actually forbidden to cuss in Orthodoxy. I've met so many Orthodox Christians who cuss, and it always throws me for a loop. Most evangelicals I've met low-key shame you, even if you say frick. Yeah, I would be interesting, like, where is it, like, completely forbidden? I mean, I know St. John Chrysostom says not to swear, I guess. Or curse, like, lots of different words for it. I mean, there's key stuff with cursing people, like, you're saying bad stuff to them or to happen to them. Like, that's slightly different than cussing. Cussing is kind of its own thing, where we just decided words were bad, but we associate it with cursing because they're connected. Super Nintendo stands. I miss old Simpsons. You know what I love? One of my favorite arcade games is the Simpsons arcade game. It's absolutely incredible. So much fun. I was playing it. I was watching Simpsons on the top screen, playing the Simpsons arcade game on the bottom screen. It was a joy. It lasted like 5 minutes, but I was like, I'm gonna do this at some point. That's what you do with these. Everyone who buys retro handhelds knows that. You buy them, and then you spend like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours setting stuff up and looking at all the cool features, and then you don't actually play anything. So I played some games a couple times. Christmas sale on Steam. Christmas sales are good. The best is allkeyshop.com. The reason I'm very frugal gamer. I love finding like deals. Like I love stuff like PC Part Picker, websites that help you in the process of acquiring stuff more cheaply. Allkeyshop.com searches every major game store and also key resellers. Some people have Steam keys and they just sell the key to someone so you can activate the key on Steam. Allkeyshop searches all of them. So I highly recommend if you want to buy a game, go on there and check. You can even get a browser extension that when you're scrolling Steam in your browser, not the Steam store in your Steam client, but your regular browser, you can get a client that will, when you're looking at Steam games on Steam, it'll show you what the cheapest Allkeyshop price is. I have that. I use it a lot. And so sometimes games are like $2 instead of $10 on Christmas sale when they're normally $30. Like that sort of thing. So, yeah. I love allkeyshop.com. There's also bookfinder.com, again, in the same vein of topics, which lets you search all the major book retailers, new and used. Highly recommend. Check there anytime you're going to buy a book. And it searches with the shipping, too, so you know your total price you're going to pay. Dude, send me some lunch money? Sometimes the super chats don't show up. It's very... Dude, heck yeah, brother. Thank you, Weston. I appreciate that so much. That's a huge blessing. So, yeah. Awesome. Numbers and Letters says Andrew Wilson cusses and he's based. That's pretty true. Yeah. I was watching, did you know, fun fact, first off, I like Andrew Wilson. Let's be clear about this. I don't want to risk any drama or anything. Andrew Wilson, out of nowhere, I didn't even know who he was going to make a video about me making fun of me. He saw years ago, this is like a story for another time. I'm almost caught up on the chat and I need to, I want to say go to bed. I'm probably going to play some video games, but I can't talk anymore. My throat's dried out. I'm extra tired. But, Andrew Wilson, so long ago, a bunch of Ortho bros dug through my old social media and found like things of me with goth makeup on and goth outfits, and they're like, he's a drag queen cross-dressing tranny gay twink, and like flipped their lids over it. And every once in a while, and like people believed them, and it was a huge scandal. This was like 4 or 5 years ago, whatever. And like every once in a while they'd get posted again and people would attack me, they'd spam my posts. It was wild. It was a very intense experience. Andrew Wilson, not knowing anything about me, thinking I'm like, it's all true, was going to make this video just making fun of me and hazing me, which I didn't even know who he was, so it kind of like scared me. I'm like, what is this? Why is some Orthodox person like attacking me? In retrospect, like now, I would go on Andrew's channel, which he was open to me going on, and be like, let's make fun of me. Like, yeah, those are cringy photos or whatever. But at the time, it like kind of freaked me out. And I butt heads with him and his wife a little bit, and then we kind of figured our stuff out. And like, I like them. I think they're great. I understand if people don't like them. I understand if people don't like me. That's how it should work. Like, the Orthodox Church has people for everyone. But I totally understand if people aren't into them. However, I've been watching Andrew Wilson debate recently, and my flippin' goodness, that man is an incredible debater. Like, I watched him and I was like, I want this man to be my sensei. Like, this man is a very good debater. Yeah, he just destroys people. And I like it the best when he's like being like respectful. Like, I watched him just destroy a Mormon guy, and he wasn't rude. He was a little bit like blunt and direct, but like, it was totally reasonable. There was nothing wrong with it. But yeah, he did. It was awesome. I'm gonna be watching more Andrew Wilson debates because, yeah, he really treats it like the art form that it is. It's not about winning. Obviously, you want to win in a debate, like, or at least he does. There's nothing wrong with that. I want to know the truth. If I'm wrong, someone else to prove me wrong. But obviously, if it's like Orthodoxy, I think Orthodoxy's right. So, let's see. New Fable in the makes looks really good. Yeah, I would like to play that. Every once in a while I look into like playing Fable 2 on an Xbox emulator or playing the original on Steam, but if they're going to remake it, I'll just buy that. Wait a year or two and it's going to be half the price on Steam. Give me like $20. Sir, that's too much Simpsons. I want to say there's never too much Simpsons, but it was too much Simpsons, yeah. with super chats needs more money to push the past money through the pipe. What do you mean by that? I don't know what you mean. Nolan! Oh, dude, Nolan, good to see you. Oh, so wonderful to have you. Thank you for being here, brother. I'm actually wrapping up right now, but I did decide that I'm gonna start the chats later because I think that it just seems like more people are here now. And normally I closed down 45 minutes ago, shut down the shop, but I think I just need to start earlier and go an hour later. So, go to bread. I have blood sugar issues. I can't go to bread. We talked him out, boys. Yes, you did. At scene. Dude, I'm so close to you guys catching up on this chat and shutting us down. Oh, you just wait. I'm so close to here. Alt scene, I understand from the rave days. Yeah, I'm very public about this. I've had people be like, Thaddeus, no. There's a goth club nearby, and once every 3 months, I go there for an 80s night, and dance and stuff. And I don't wear the makeup anymore. I wear very thin guy liner, because I like the little black highlight on the eyes. I don't wear anything else. I don't like it. I don't think it even looks good. But, yeah, I wear that, and I wear, some red, or black or whatever. But I do some very light gothing still. I've had friends visit. It's just a fun thing to do. They have a really awesome goth venue here, Area 51. Sometimes they have a fetish night. I do not go to those. I don't go to those. So, but when it's Depeche Mode themed, I'm like, yeah, I'm there. And to be fair, I went to one fetish night. I didn't know that it was a fetish night. It was not that bad. There were a couple weird things I saw. And then a month later, the Pride Parade went by my apartment outside my window. Non-consensually attended the Pride Parade. It was 10 times worse than anything I saw at this fetish night. And there's kids there. I saw boobs. And they were on men. And the men had beards. They had beards and they had boobs. And there was nothing on them except sparkles. And now I'm angry. There were children, and these men running around being flamboyant, histrionic, and action happening. If you have to visualize it, I had to actually see it, so you're bearing the cross with me. At the fetish night, was nothing like that. Nothing that bad. And it's 21 and up weird fetish night thing, and there was nothing remotely compares to man boobs around children. It was wild, and I was very angry. I couldn't believe when the Pride Parade happened. I was like, how is this worse than the fetish night I accidentally went to? Yeah. So there was the worst thing at the fetish night was there was a girl who was wearing, let's just say, a lot of electrical tape. And there was lots of skin showing. And there was a guy with her who I was wearing a lot of electrical tape too. But it was they were actually fairly covered, and that was the worst thing. I could just see a lot of skin, but there was a lot of electrical tape, thank God. No one was naked. No one bumps and grinds at the goth club. Mainstream clubs, I don't go to those. They're bumping and grinding. No one bumps and grinds. Goth clubs are actually fairly wholesome. Anyways, so, yeah. Dude, if people saw my old pink hair, yes, that was an actual thing, I would get slaughtered online. Yeah, dude. Whew. Andrew Wilson is amazing at debates. Also, I changed my name since you made fun of it. Dombo. Am I pronouncing that properly? Just Dom, just Bo. I didn't make fun of it. It was fun all on its own. That's what I like to say. No, keep chatting. Oh, guys, I'm so tired. Hey, I'm just excited. We'll come back. We'll do more of this. On Thursday, I'm going to come back and do more Elder Thaddeus. We're going to continue part 2 of this book. You can always go back and watch the first stream. Yeah, but also, I don't know if you guys know, maybe some of you are here. I have a Discord server. If you go on Twitter, the best way to find is go on Twitter, on X, search Uncompromising Mercy, and there's an account called Uncompromising Mercy. I run that, and it's an account for my Discord server, and it has a link to the Discord. If you go in the bio, it's got the link. So I don't even think you have to have Twitter to view bios. But yeah, if you search Uncompromising Mercy, the username is Uncompromising M, and it's a picture of Christ and the Theotokos, and there's a Discord link in the bio. Click that, you'll be on my Discord server. So yeah, just another way to hang out and stuff. I always invite people to, and I try and drive people from there to here too. The goth dude that's blowing up from Ireland, shoegazing, hell yeah. He does goth stuff and slays feminists. Based, red pilled, nice. Okay, guys, I am caught up on the chat. I am falling asleep. I am very tired. I might not even play video games, which is crazy. But I appreciate so much having you guys here. I appreciate the super chat, Weston. I know Jeremy sent one earlier, so shout out to you guys. Yeah, join the Discord server. I'm on lots of social media. Also, one other thing, I have a Telegram channel where I just post church father quotes once in a while. So if that's something that interests you, it is, maybe I can post it in the chat. T.me/Thaddeus Thought. So if you have Telegram or you get Telegram and you use that link, t.me/Thaddeus Thought, it's like a small little channel that's kind of like my highlights. Like I post when I'm streaming, I post like church father quotes, I post once in a while something. So some people have Twitter, some people everything. I've been drinking coffee literally the entire stream, a mega mug, and I'm so tired. However, I love this idea and I appreciate you asking this to happen. What I'm going to say is join my Discord server, and maybe sometime I will stream a game on there. I could stream it here maybe, but it's not quite on brand for me. But I'll stream it there, and I'll play one of my mindless games because I can talk while I do a mindless game. I wanted to stream and talk. I thought about that years ago, like, oh, I should do game streaming and talk. And I cannot stream and talk unless it's like a survivor's game, like some really mindless game, or like RuneScape or something. RuneScape is I play because I can do it while I watch YouTube videos. But anyways, numbers and letters, yeah. Join the Uncompromising Discord server, and maybe on there one of these nights that's not my Tuesday or Thursday stream, I'll do like a game stream and talk during it. So we played Deep Rock Galactic on there together a couple times. Yeah, different options. Also Crab Champions. Anyone who knows what Crab Champions is, $10 crab co-op game. I think I already talked about it because Jeremy played it with me. But DSP, who's DSP? DSP. Not David Patrick Harry. Numbers and letters, who's DSP? Thinking of lots of podcasts, Orthodox ones, whatever. Sorry, I'm just waiting here for who DSP is. The stream might be behind too. You might not be hearing this. Like I might be seeing that and asking. Oh, that's just like his name, DSP. World famous inventor of video game streaming. Interesting, that is very prestigious. And he invented food reviews. Dang, yeah. You might have to message me this on the social media platform so I can look into him. That's very interesting. So, well, anyways, guys, yeah. We got 150 views total, and we maintained like a mostly 10 views most of the stream. So that's good enough for me. 10 homies hanging out. Yeah, glory to God. So thank you everyone who came. And like I said, feel free to keep in touch on other platforms, and pray for me. Pray for me. I appreciate and cherish your prayers. I need them, and I will pray for you guys also. So, oh, he's toxic. Oh, I'm so into that. Yeah, heck yeah. Let's go. Awesome. God bless you guys, and yeah, I'll see you Thursday or on whatever medium you keep in touch on. Discord's a good option. So, yeah. Peace out.